alive with an 88-71 win over Rhode Island yesterday in the opening round of the Atlantic 10 Tournament. Entering the competition as the 15th and lowest seed, Fordham put together their best performance in over a month, fueled by 29 points from Jackie Johnson, 26 from Japhet Medor, and a stellar defensive effort that saw Rhode Island go without a field goal in the final 8 minutes of regulation. But you can't rest on your laurels in the A10 Tournament. Next up is a meeting with number 7 seed George Washington in the second round. Just as Fordham was able to get revenge on a Rhode Island team that they'd faced only 4 days prior, the Rams and the Revolutionaries met just 8 days ago at the Rose Hill Gym. GW embarrassed the Rams 81-58 in their home finale in a game that wasn't ever close. That felt close to rock bottom. But only a week later, Fordham has a chance to right their wrongs in a win-or-go-home environment. It's Fordham against George Washington at the Atlantic 10 Tournament in Washington, D.C., next on WFUV Sports.
From Capital One Arena here in Washington, D.C., this is Fordham men's basketball on WFUV Sports. I'm Nick Guzman, pleased to be joined alongside by Lou Orlando and Chaz McAdams, another three-man booth for the second consecutive day. This afternoon's matchup is between the Fordham Rams and the George Washington Revolutionaries in the second round of the Atlantic 10 Tournament. Now, gentlemen, Fordham came in yesterday against Rhode Island in the opening round as the 15 seed, has only won 3 games in the Atlantic 10 all season long on the back of an 8-game losing streak, and they come in with their best performance probably of the season, an 88-71 win over URI. That was a really complete performance.
Nick, I think it's a stunning victory by a Fordham team that looked completely out of it coming into the A10 Tournament round 1 game. They came out the gate and they dominated Rhode Island, and the shocking thing is they did it with defense. Last 8 minutes of that game, Rhode Island did not record a field goal. They end up with 71 points, which is not bad, but that's the league's best offense. That's the A10's best offense, averaging over 78 points per game, and Fordham completely took them out of that game. That was a shocking and stunning defense performance, and they're going to need to do it again against a really solid GW team, but if they play with the energy and intensity they played with yesterday, they're going to be okay.
It's a GW team that likes to play slow, methodical, hypnotic basketball. Borderline, slows you down to a pace where you fall asleep and then bang, they're going to hit a 3 right in your face. They've got Castro down low. They've got guys all over the board. Christian Jones. They got Buchanan off the bench. This is a GW team that knows how to win basketball games their way. First 20-win season under Coach Chris Caputo. The Fordham Rams have to completely adjust their game plan. They faced a Rhode Island Rams team last night here in the nation's capital that love to get up and down the court as soon as possible. You're not going to see a lot of fast breaks on the part of the Revolutionaries. This is going to be a very different basketball game. Hopefully Keith Urgo and his staff can adjust and come out tonight with the W.
Both teams looking for a spot in the quarterfinals of the A10 Tournament. We have starting lineups for you for both sides, starting with the Fordham Rams, an unchanged starting 5 from yesterday's win over URI. It's Japhet Medor, Jameer Tripp, Jackie Johnson, Ramadeen, and Abdu Timbila. Guys, second straight game with Jameer Tripp in the starting lineup.
And it's Jameer Tripp in the starting lineup because of Zach Riley, who, when we talked to head coach Keith Urgo after the game, said, Zach as a captain came up to me and said, Jameer gives us more offensive potential. I think he should be in the starting lineup. And Keith Urgo listened to his senior captain, and it was not Jameer Tripp's best game yesterday, but I think Zach's absolutely right. Jameer Tripp gives Fordham a higher offensive ceiling and a strong capability. Chaz, though, this offense is going to run through Jackie Johnson and Japhet Medor the way it did yesterday.
Fire and ice, Johnson and Medor. It's been the duo that's led the Rams to their slim victories and has kept them in games in their close losses. Jackie Johnson III is a firecracker in that starting lineup at the starting 1. He knows how to get to his shot. He attacks the glass very well. He's able to attack the rim with speed and force. Japhet Medor, the facilitator on the other side. He likes to move side to side more than downhill. He likes to get his shot off. He's a good step-back shooter, and he is the on- and off-court leader that will lead this Rams team to the promised land if they're ready to get there.
Jackie had 29 very impressive points to lead all scorers yesterday against URI. Japhet Medor right behind him with 26. It was really a 1-2 punch that carried Fordham offensively. on the GW side of things. They've had 8 days off. The last game this Revolutionaries team played was against Fordham at the Rose Hill Gym last Wednesday. That was Fordham's last home game of the season. It was an 81-58 blowout in favor of GW. Their starting five is unchanged from that game on Wednesday. It's Trey Autry, Kristen Jones, Gerald Drumgoole Jr., Sean Hansen, and Rafael Castro, the big man who they're going to run things through down low.
Yeah, Castro's the guy, but look out for number 20, Sean Hansen. Sneaky, athletic, really strong defender. You can't move him out of the dunker spot and has a nice little touch off the window. I would expect Hansen to be a guy that goes off in this game versus the Rams.
And Nick, you have to worry about Castro. If you're Fordham, that's your number one priority. The big man that leads the A10 with a 66.8% efficiency in the field. He is a dominant big man, 6'11". We've seen Fordham have issues with big men inside. Think back to Noel Brown with Bonaventure on the road when he goes off for 24 points. Castro's a guy that didn't have to do much against Fordham last time out. This GW just completely dismantled them in a team effort. But if this game is closer, the offense is going to run through Castro, and that could be a problem for Fordham's interior defense.
Castro had 16 and 8 last Wednesday against Fordham in just 25 minutes because, as you mentioned, Lou, GW didn't need to play their starters very much. The game got out of hand so quickly. It was a really low point for this Fordham program, but a chance. They got revenge against URI yesterday. Chance again to get some revenge against a team that just beat you.
We talked to Coach Urgo, and he said that GW game, it wasn't us. Fordham has a chance to prove it today.
GW in white, Fordham in maroon. The Rams moving from right to left. GW from left to right. We're just about set to go here in the second round of the A10 tournament from Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. It will be Abdou Tambila against Rafael Castro on the tip. Castro tips into the front court, immediately ahead to Jones, who finishes just 4 seconds in. Castro to Jones off the tip. GW on top.
And first blood like that can kill you mentally. You got to have a goldfish memory and get back down the other side, get a bucket.
Fordham on the other end, their first offensive possession. Ramad Dean has it, top of the key for the Rams. Feeds the paint for Jameer Tripp. He's double teamed down low. Tripp, beautiful find for Tambila off the glass and in.
And that's what you're looking for with Jameer Tripp in the lineup. It's not just the scoring ability, it's his facilitating. 1.7 assists on the season. He's a big man that can dish it.
Jones has it near wing for GW. Straight away for Autry. Down low, left block for Castro. Castro drives on Tambila, gets up and over, and banks in off the glass.
That mean move, that left jab, crossover, and floater with the inside hand is beautiful basketball at a number 30 for the Revolutionaries.
4-2 GW, 53 seconds into this one. Dean has it up high for Fordham. Handoff on the outside for Jackie Johnson straight away. Johnson fakes the three, moves it near wing to Tripp. Tripp will drive baseline, now spins back middle to the corner for Johnson. His three on the move is an air ball. He missed it long.
I think Castro got a piece of that one.
Back the other way comes GW. Drumgoole has it at the A10 logo. Moves right to Jones straight away. Tripp watching him. Jones thought about the three. Still on this near wing with 10 on the shot clock. Jones to the short corner for Hansen. Backing down on Abdou. Hansen spins, lefty hooks is pure.
I told you, you got to watch out for Hansen. He's got such a nice touch around the rim, and he is as sturdy as they come. 2 points for GW.
6-2 GW, minute 50 gone by in this first half. Japhet Medor up high at the logo. Pushes right to Jameer Tripp on the far wing. Back middle to Ramad Dean up high. Dean for an option, top of the key. Moves it left to Medor on the near wing. 8 on the shot clock. Pressure up high from GW. Medor now on the far side. Will drive right. Medor hangs in the air, couldn't get the roll. Tambila the offensive board, and it comes back to Tripp on the perimeter. Fordham will reset. Johnson on the far side. Attacks in the lane. Knifes his way through. Flipped up the shot. He got fouled. And 2 shots coming for Jackie Johnson.
Jackie almost shot that with his back turned to the basket, the pirouette. I give it a 9.8 if I was judging in the Olympics. No make, though, getting his 2 at the charity stripe. Jackie Johnson so good at being able to split those screen actions, whether it's a hedge or a blitz. Jackie's able to recognize that as a veteran player, split the defense and get his, whether it's at the line or at the cup.
And that's something Fordham did so well yesterday. They got to the line a ton against Rhode Island, 28 attempts at the line. You need to do that against this GW team.
Johnson knocks down the first free throw to make it 6-3.
Because, Nick, if we're comparing Rhode Island to GW, the big difference I see is this GW defense, 4th in the A10, only 67 points allowed per game. a lot stingier than that Rhode Island defense Fordham saw yesterday. And I think you can see it already, how tight they are along the perimeter.
And so slow, methodical basketball happening out of the side of the Revolutionaries.
Johnson goes 2 for 2 from the line. It's 6-4 GW, 17:40 to go. First half, as Christian Jones will dribble the ball ahead on the far side for the Revolutionaries. Jones flipped down low looking for Hansen. It was over his head, out of bounds on the baseline, Fordham basketball.
And that's a head case move. You gotta know when your steal's coming. Hansen had the smaller guard in Medor on him in the post. You gotta recognize that's my matchup. I gotta go out there and take it.
Matt Zona's on the floor for the first time for Fordham. Abdu Timbila has checked out. On the far wing, Jackie Johnson feeds Jameer Tripp up high. Tripp moves it left for Japhet Medor. Medor straight away. Double teamed up high. Medor to the corner for Dean. Fakes the three. Instead will drive. Dean hesitates. Up high again for Johnson. His deep triples money. Jackie Johnson knocks it down. Fordham on top 7-6. Jones will carry ahead for GW. 17 minutes to go in this first half. Jones on this near wing. Gets it inside for Castro. Out to the far corner. Autry's three is short. Medor flies in for the board. And he'll push it quickly back the other way for the Rams. Medor straight away. Out to the far wing. Zona, his triple. In and out. Rebound Castro.
It's been a cold stretch for Zona from deep. He had a good look there, though.
Jones driving on Johnson. Gets to the baseline. Kicks out. Drumgoole to the corner. Autry rattles it home.
That is beautiful ball movement out of Jones. And then Hansen getting it back down to Autry. Unreal.
Back-to-back open looks for him in the corner. You can't give him two. He's a good three-point shooter.
9-7 GW. Medor on the far wing launches the three. It's short. Castro comes in for the board. 16-10 to go first half. GW by 2. Jones up high to screen from Castro. Still with Jones top of the key. Feeds the post for Castro. Medor on him. Inside, no one's on Hansen, and that's an easy finish. 11-7 GW.
And that's the benefit of having Castro. He's going to draw two guys out of the paint. When he's outside the paint, leaves it wide open for Hansen.
Tripp has it for Fordham on this near wing. For Matt Zona, top of the key. Handoff for Johnson on the far side. Johnson, top of the key. That's a two. Off the heel and out. Hansen the rebound. Jones the other way for GW. Jones for Hansen near wing to the corner. Drumgoole. Up high again for Jones. Move left to the logo for Castro. Castro, Drumgoole near wing. That's a three. Too strong. Rebound Medor. He'll push quickly back the other way. Wait for his teammates to get with him. Japhet Medor up high. Crossover. Drives left. He got bumped as he made his move. That's going to be a foul on the floor. With 15:15 to go in the first half, that will take us to our under 16 media timeout. The score GW 11, Fordham 7. And we'll listen to our coach's sound. We got to sit down with Keith Ergo just this morning. Take a listen.
Nick Guzman here alongside Lou Orlando and Chaz McAdams with Fordham men's basketball head coach Keith Ergo ahead of their second round game in the A10 tournament against GW. Coach, the stat that stuck out to me most after that win over Rhode Island, holding them 8 minutes without a field goal to end the game, I think that was really representative of the defensive effort that you guys showed. Just what was your reaction to seeing the kind of intensity and fire you guys were playing with on that end of the floor?
Yeah, that's what we've been hoping for all year long, quite frankly. You know, we in the first half, we were playing pretty good defense for the first about 12 minutes. And that's what got us the lead. We were taking good shots. We weren't turning the ball over. And then, unfortunately, we took some ill-advised shots. We got sped up a little bit, turned the ball over a few times, and they got back into it. And then in the second half, we did a better job of taking good shots and not turning the ball over for the most part. But the one thing that we did very well is we communicated at a very high level. Now, we gave up too many offensive rebounds, 16. You know, it was way too much, and we had a couple of stops there where we gave up not one but two, and that put us in foul trouble. So those are things we got to clean up today against GW. But for the most part, I was very, very happy with our defensive effort, and I think packing it in, you know, making sure we're inside that college three really helped us.
Obviously, Zach Riley, one of your captains, taking the step back. You talked about it in your post-game presser yesterday, volunteering that starting spot for Tripp because he wants that offensive firepower. He had a lot of great defensive moments. He stopped Thomas at the rim a lot, had a steal on that post entry that started the second momentum swing for you guys. Can you just speak to his ability as a leader and as a defensive guy on this basketball team?
Yeah, Zach Riley is he's an integral part into everything we do. He's just like Abdu and Brian Nussbaum. He's been here 4 years. He is ingrained in our culture. He is an old school guy who stayed around for 4 years. He's helped, sustain our culture. And really the standard that we have is because they created it when he was a freshman, sophomore, and a junior. And he embodies everything we want a Fordham basketball player to be. He's just so tough and rugged. He buys into what we call our attitude club. All of the winning plays that most people don't see that adds up to winning plays. And he's invaluable, and just as unselfish, maturity to see what the team might have needed for a spark, and that's what he is. He'll do whatever, whenever, however, in order to get us a W, and that's obviously invaluable, and we need it moving forward.
Similar to the Rhode Island game this
Back here at Capital One Arena, it's 11-7 GW. Fordham basketball up high, 15:08 to go in the first half. Zach Riley feeds Josh Rivera down low. He's double-teamed. Castro right there. Rivera couldn't finish. Zona the rebound, though. To the wing. Riley, his three is short. Rebound loose in the corner. Zona kept it alive up high for Johnson. His logo three. Bang! Jackie Johnson knocks it down. Fordham back within one.
Jackie Johnson the third, bringing the Mike Breen out of Nick Guzman from the red A, the A10 logo. Unreal basketball going on right now.
Chaz, how about 2 offensive rebounds from Zona?
It's a natural reflex. Buchanan down low. Flips it over. Zona in and out. Castro the rebound. Got fouled as he went back up with it. And 2 shots coming from Rafael Castro.
I mean, fellas, to go back to that, 2 offensive rebounds from Matt Zona. We were joking yesterday about the athletic play he made, stopping himself from going out of bounds and throwing it to the corner for an assist. First, he uses the muscle. He rips the ball away from Castro, and then the agility. He stays in bounds. He saves it the second time. It's an unreal play.
I mean, Zona had 5 assists against Rhode Island, didn't score. It's
no turnovers either.
Who knew Matt Zona was a passer?
He's
but
shockingly spry.
Shockingly spry as Castro misses the first free throw short. Still 1 to come. It's 11-10 GW with 14:31 to go first half. Rafael Castro draws a lot of contact, gets to the line a ton, third in the A10 free throw attempts, but percentage-wise down near 60%. He gets the second to go to make it 12-10 GW, 14:30 to go in the first half. Japhet Medor will carry across the timeline for the Rams. Medor on the far side. Johnson comes around the screen. Instead, it goes to the corner for Riley. Riley up high. Moves it to the near wing for Josh Rivera. 10 on the shot clock. Rivera out to the far side again for Medor. 5 to shoot. Medor drives. Took some contact. Blocked away by Buchanan. And here comes the Revolutionaries the other way. Autry on the near wing. Up high for Ty Bevins. Straight away again, Rafael Castro flips down low. Buchanan off balance, gets the finish and the foul. Darren Buchanan. What a move, what a finish.
There's a lot of criticism around that lineup when you run Buchanan and Castro in the same because you lose a lot of shooting there. But when you have that high-low action and you have Castro as the passer, Buchanan able to get that seal off in the paint too. They recognize it in each other, even though they're not in the same lineup. Buchanan coming off the bench. That's a scary type of basketball.
Buchanan was the star of this GW team last year, averaging 15 points per game. Yes, it was a young team that wasn't very good, but he was a very, very good player in the Atlantic 10. Dropped 38 on Fordham when they played GW last year, but he's found himself a little bit on the outside looking in of this rotation down the stretch for George Washington. Here he completes the three-point play to make it 15-10 GW.
Nick, they're just so strong, and they're really getting to the paint with ease right now. Fordham cannot allow that to continue if they want to stay in this game.
Japhet Medor across the timeline on the far side. Matt Zona has it now, top of the key. Johnson was trying to come around his screen. He's fouled by Bevins. And Fordham will inbound side out. We see how physical GW are on the perimeter trying to bust up those handoffs for Fordham.
They had it scouted so well last time out versus the Rams. They know where the dribble handoffs are coming. They know where the long passes are coming, the skip passes. They had that Fordham offense scouted to a T. We'll see if Coach Keith Ergo made the adjustments necessary to not let that happen again.
Ramad Dean back in the game will inbound on the far side into the backcourt for Japhet Medor, who control the offense for Fordham. To the near wing for Ramad Dean, pass left for Rivera. Up high again, Jackie Johnson, stolen away by Hutchinson with the quick hands. Screen from Hanson. Hutchinson open for three. He'll fire that short. Medor another rebound. Buchanan went after him a little bit. Fordham bench wanted a call. Nothing given. Medor handoff on the far side for Johnson. High screen from Timbila. Johnson still straight away. Drives left, poked away from behind by Bevins. And here comes Buchanan. Dean fouled him from behind as Buchanan missed at the rim. And 2 shots coming for Darren Buchanan.
2 things. That's a great foul by Roman Dean. You cannot let a dunk go off here in a basically home environment for the GW Revolutionaries. 2, that's back-to-back bad turnovers for Jackie Johnson III. Coach Keith Thurgood didn't like what he saw.
The 29 points for Jackie Johnson yesterday, so impressive, but almost equally as impressive, just the 3 turnovers, considering some of the problems he'd had down the stretch to end the regular season against GW and Rhode Island.
6 against Rhode Island, career high 7 turnovers last Wednesday against GW. And in a lot of ways, this GW team is a kryptonite for Fordham because they're so physical on the perimeter. They force, feels like a million turnovers. I mean, they lead the A10 in steals. They're top 3 in turnovers forced. And that is kryptonite for small playmaking guards like Jackie and Japhet that want to dribble, that want to playmake. GW is just not going to give you the space to do a lot of the freelancing that they enjoy doing.
Buchanan misses the free throw. Jackie Johnson will check out of the game. Jameer Tripp back in for the Rams. One more shot to come here from Buchanan, and he knocks it down.
And you've got Trey Woodall, the associate head coach on the bench, just running through with Jackie everything that went wrong in that last sequence.
16-10 GW, 13 minutes to go first half. Josh Rivera up high, handoff for Jameer Tripp at the logo. Screen from Timbila, Tripp moving right, needs an option, more pressure up high from GW, cross court to Medor on this near side against Buchanan. Out to the far wing, Dean, he'll launch the 3 and bury it. Huge shot from Ramad Dean to cut this thing to 3.
Ramad Dean finding himself in the Capitol Center in this A10 tournament.
Quickly the other way, Drumgool's open in transition, he missed it. Timbila the rebound. Fordham get the stop and survive that one. Medor into the front court for the Rams, driving left on Hampson. He'll fade away. Over Hanson, couldn't get the roll. Hutchinson kept it alive for GW.
The tough shots that were going in the first half against Rhode Island, not going so far today.
Drumgool on the far side against Timbila. Crossover, drives left off the glass and in, and a foul.
That's pound dribble, tween, cross back, snatch, make Abdu jump, and then you go through 1-2, lay it off the glass, plus the contact. Poetry in motion.
Gerald Drumgool's a guy who's seen some things. Is in his 6th year of college hoops, previously at Pitt for 2 years, Albany for 2 years, and Delaware for 1. But he's been a big piece for this GW team starting all 31 games in the regular season.
And that's when you talk about what the game plan was for Chris Caputo coming into this season after having one of the youngest lineups in the league last year, finishing 15th in the A10. Well, how do you get better? You bring in some experience. You hit on guys that maybe weren't scouted across the league, but have that experience and can plug into your system.
Drumgool knocks down the free throw to complete the 3-point play. 19-13 GW, 12:07 to go first half, and GW showing press here after the made free throw. 3 Revolutionary players in the backcourt, now 4 as Castro inches ahead. Dean will inbound to Tripp. And GW will back off as Tripp can cross the timeline straight away. Moving left, the handoff for Rivera up high. Rivera drives left into the corner for Medor, takes it baseline. Medor, he's double teamed up high. Timbila, Tripp straight away. Thought about a 3 with 10 on the shot clock. Tripp instead will drive right on Castro. Looking for some space, double team with Hanson. Shot wouldn't go. Timbila tries to keep it alive. He couldn't. Rebound comes to Castro, and GW back the other way. Jones on the far wing for the Revolutionaries. Timbila watching him. It was Tripp and Castro jockeying for position down low, and there's going to be a whistle and a foul. That will take us to our under 12 media timeout. It's 11:31 to go in the first half here at Capital One Arena. The score, GW 19, Fordham 13. We'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the one-on-one scoreboard with Ben Oppenheimer.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Earlier today in A10 tournament play, the Bonnies outlasted the Dukes as St. Bonaventure beat Duquesne 64-59. Melvin Council Jr. and Lajay Jones both scored 18 points for St. Bonaventure as the team will face an even bigger challenge tomorrow against the #1 ranked VCU. Tip-off is at 11:30 a.m. and will be broadcast on USA TV. And the St. Joseph's Hawks will play at 7:30 tonight, right after today's game, Fordham versus George Washington. They'll play LaSalle in what will be the first game of tournament play, coming after their final regular season game, where they coincidentally played LaSalle, beating them 81-74. We'll see later tonight if the Hawks can do it again one more time. And for tomorrow's slate of A10 men's basketball, the Loyola Chicago Ramblers will play the St. Louis Billikens at 2 p.m. This comes after St. Louis beat Davidson 83-75 in round 1, and Loyola Chicago blew out UMass 74-51. This should be an evenly matched battle between the two teams, as Loyola is at the 4th seed and St. Louis right behind them at the 5th seed. And last but not least, George Mason awaits the winner of this one, as they'll play their first game of the A10 tournament tomorrow at 5 p.m. Regardless of if it's Fordham or George Washington that comes out alive tonight, they'll face a big test tomorrow against the number 2 seed in the conference. That's your one-on-one scoreboard update. I'm Ben Oppenheimer.
Thanks, Ben. Welcome back inside Capital One Arena here in Washington, D.C. The score, GW 19, Fordham 13 with 11:31 to go in the first half. Guys, this was a Fordham offense that yesterday looked like they were operating on all cylinders, had the space to do so. But against GW, that space just non-existent on the offensive end.
Nick, it feels like it's 6-on-5 out there with GW having the advantage, and we were kind of joking in the break. It's kind of remarkable because everywhere Fordham wants to go, it seems like GW has a double waiting to trap them, but then Fordham has a really tough time finding their outlet passes, and GW's just locking up every primary option that Fordham wants to go to here. They're making it really tough.
The difference is 5 guys versus the ball. When you see those doubles happening, the reason the passes can't get off is because the other 3 players on the court recognize the double and then go hands wide in the passing lane. You want to see more of that from Fordham. When you're weak side help or weak side corner, there's a tendency to kind of be off the ball a little bit and not as focused on the defensive end. That's when you need to be your most locked in.
The inbound goes to Castro up high for Drumgoole, top of the key. Out to the far side, Autry has it for George Washington. Timbila on him. Autry feeds the post for Castro, working on Rivera, backs him down. They're going to call a charge on Castro as he backed down. Great job by Josh Rivera to have the feet set. Offensive foul called on Rafael Castro.
How about Rivera getting down and dirty? That's a tough assignment for him with the 6'11" Castro. Hung in there, planted the feet. Love that.
And he's cheesing right now because he doesn't normally make plays like that. Feet set, you chest, you chest, you chest. Wait for that pound dribble to come, wait for that shoulder to drop, and then if you fall back, you fall back. It is what it is. Great job from the New Jersey native.
So Fordham basketball in the backcourt. There's 11:19 to go in the first half. GW 19, Fordham 13. Japhet Medor will carry the ball ahead. An 0-for-4 start from the field for Japhet as he hands off on the near wing for Josh Rivera. Up high, Johnson moving left from the logo. Johnson drives baseline. He's double teamed to the corner for Dean. He's open for 3 and he knocks it down again. Second made 3 for Roma Dean. 19-16 now.
Jackie gets caught off with a double, looks behind him and finds Dean leaking out for the left wing 3. Not exactly wide open, but open enough to pull.
Hutchinson for Hansen. He's open up high, and he'll parry the triple. Sean Hansen knocks it down. 22-16, George Washington.
Got to have that in your scouting report. Hansen has the outside threat in his bag. He's kind of like Fuchs in the way where he doesn't make them a lot, but when he does, it's beautiful.
Johnson on the near wing for Fordham. Will get inside, lefty floater over. Hansen gets the soft roll. 22-18, George Washington, 10:20 to go first half.
That's unreal. There really is no space for him to slice through there, and somehow he finds it or makes it himself.
Jones, the pick and roll to Hansen. Mismatch against Johnson. Hansen up high, Jones. Thought about the 3, instead will drive against Timbila. Way to contort his body to get the layup to go.
You're driving on the left side in the slot. You jump up off 2, able to move your arm and finish. Really nice play there from Jones.
6-point GW lead over halfway through this first half in Washington, D.C. Jackie Johnson to the left of the A10 logo for Fordham. Moving left to this near wing, Johnson driving on Autry, threw it up with the left hand, wouldn't go, the putback slam from Josh Rivera.
Athleticism personified. Josh Rivera crashing in for the board and slamming the dunk down.
24-20 GW, 9:30 to go, first half. Jones up high for the Revolutionaries. Out to the far wing for Jacoy Hutchinson. Down low for Buchanan to the near wing Autry. For Buchanan from mid-range, short, with the rebound off of Timbila's hands and back out to GW on the perimeter. On the far side, that's Hutchinson to Hansen on the wing. Against Johnson, he'll back down. Hansen intercepted by Dean. It's loose. They go to the ground with it. It's Dean and Hansen, and that'll be a jump ball with 7 on the shot clock.
And you love that for Romont Dean, getting down and dirty, put maroon jersey on hardwood. That's where it belongs, and that's going to be Fordham basketball.
Possession arrow belongs to the Rams. What an effort from Ramadine to dive for that ball. And Fordham rewarded with possession. They're down 24-20 with 9:02 to go first half. The Rams will inbound in the backcourt. Already a much tighter game than we saw at the Rose Hill Gym 8 days ago. But it's clear that Fordham's going to have their work cut out for them against this GW defense. Fordham 7 of 18 from the field to start. That's 38%, but 4 of 8 from deep, and that has them within 4. Medor in the front court for Fordham. Handoff on the near side for Rivera. Pass right for Johnson at the A10 logo. To the far side for Medor. Crossover. Medor took a bump from Hansen on the perimeter. That's going to be a block against Sean Hansen. And Fordham will inbound side out.
And Chaz, I'm sure you're picking this up too. What's GW doing against this Fordham offense? They're so aggressive to cut off the handoffs. The flip side of that is if you're a Fordham guard, you can really drive aggressive just around the perimeter and draw some of those reach-in fouls.
And if you scout it like that, as GW's known to do, you can really make some stuff happen.
Rivera, top of the key jumper, would not go. Timbila bats the rebound into the GW bench, just out of the hands of Jackie Johnson. That'll be George Washington basketball.
I'm really curious. This is going to be a fun battle between this Fordham offense, this GW defense, because clearly the Revolutionaries have prepped for Fordham well. We always joke you're good for about 2 handoffs, at least 1 possession for the Fordham Rams, and GW's ready for it. They're meeting them well out on the perimeter and stopping them in their tracks.
Jones across the timeline for GW on this near side against Josh Rivera. Jones, screen from Buchanan. He'll step back for 3 and knock it down. What a shot from Christian Jones to put GW up by 7 with 8:23 to go first half.
Perfect defense there, too, from Rivera. I thought he almost tipped the ball.
Medor on this near side wing. Crossover, trying to get inside. He's triple teamed Medor. Needs somewhere to go with it. Spins to the lane against Hansen. Flipped it up. The foul is called. Shot went off the heel and out. 2 shots coming for Japhet Medor. I don't know how he got out of that trap to be in a position to shoot that ball.
He is so poised with the basketball. Cool, calm, and collected. Never worried, never stressing. He knows where the ball needs to go. That was a dribbling masterclass. They should teach that in schools, Japhet Medor. Wow.
And that's something Japhet did so well yesterday, getting to the line. He was 11 for 11 from the free throw line, a big part of his 26 points. He's at the stripe here for 2. He's 0 for 4 to start from the field. The first free throw from Japhet rattles home.
And you know what? You're not going to score 80 clean against this GW team. It's not going to come as easy as it did against Rhode Island yesterday. So the way to make up for that is get yourself to the line. A team that plays physical defense a lot of times is going to foul a little bit.
Medor, Zona, Rivera, Johnson, Dean, the 5 for Fordham. Medor's second free throw is good. 2 for 2 on the night. 27-22 George Washington, 8:05 to go in the first half. Jones across the timeline for the Revolutionaries. High screen from Hansen. Jones will feed Hansen now, backing down Johnson towards the lane. Wild pass out to the far corner, somehow corralled by Hutchinson. Gets around Medor for Hansen near wing. He'll pop the 3 off the heel and out. Dean secures the board. Medor ahead for Fordham. Straight away for Dean. Dean the pump fake. Feeds Zona. Couldn't corral the pass in the paint. Quickly ahead for Buchanan. GW the other way. And Buchanan with the slam.
Fordham has not turned the ball over a lot so far, but the turnovers they have had have been really bad ones.
Ugly, ugly basketball for the Rams so far.
29-22 George Washington. 7:20 left first half. Zona on the far wing will hand off for Josh Rivera up high. Working against Buchanan, feeds Dean top of the key. Jackie Johnson now at the Fordham logo, or the A10 logo rather, as Johnson drives left, hangs in the air and gets the bounce off the glass. Another strong move at the rim for Jackie Johnson with that left hand. 29-24 GW, under 7 to go.
And notice Jackie takes a lot of contact, ends up horizontal on the floor. No complaints, no begging for the refs, just keeps his head down and gets back on defense.
Hansen again against Johnson will back him down. Zona comes over to help. Hansen double teamed out to the corner. The three from Hutchinson, in and out. Hansen the rebound, knocked out of his hands by Rivera, but they're going to call a foul on Josh Rivera.
Everyone's going up physical there for the ball, and Hansen's the only, happens to be the only revolutionary in the mix, and you're calling it over the back on that rebound. I don't know if I believe that. Not the call I would make.
Tough thing for me there is you've got 4 Fordham Rams in the paint, only 1 revolutionary. The revolutionary cannot be the one that comes up clean with that ball.
Absolutely. So with 6:37 to go in the first half, the score GW 29, Fordham 24. You're listening to Fordham men's basketball on WFUV Sports.
What's up, Ramley? It's Lou Orlando. Fordham men's basketball heads to Washington, D.C. for the A10 Tournament, and WFUV has you covered every step of the way. Round 1 starts this Wednesday, March 12th at 2 p.m., with games every day until Sunday. Alongside my partners Nick Guzman and Chaz McAdams, we'll have the call for every game from Capital One Arena. Tune in and follow along as the Rams make their postseason push. 90.7 FM WFUV is the home of Fordham basketball.
Back here inside Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. This is Nick Guzman here alongside Lou Orlando and Chaz McAdams. George Washington with a 29-24 lead over Fordham with 6:37 to go in the first half as we're paused here at a media timeout. Guys, we knew it wasn't going to be the smooth sailing that it was yesterday against Rhode Island. It wasn't smooth sailing, but Fordham's offense really much was able to operate at such a high level against that Rhode Island team. GW closing all the spaces and then knocking down their shots on the other end.
Yeah, I mean, Fordham able to exploit a terrible defense in the Rhode Island Rams, and I think it's the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. There is so much offensive firepower on this Fordham team, and yet the GW Revolutionaries are stopping them in their tracks.
The fact that Jackie Johnson has 12 points at this stage of the game, still 6.5 to go in the first half, that is a testament to his ability to make tough shots. The tough shots have not been there so far for Japhet Medor, who's 0 for 4. Fordham's offense primarily has come from Jackie making contested shots inside and those 2 kickouts to Ramad Dean. The Revolutionaries have made things very difficult on the Fordham Rams. On their offense, there has not been really any space out there in the half-court set. And it's really only thanks to Jackie Johnson that Fordham's in striking distance of this game.
That's something that Keith Ergo was talking about yesterday, and he was asked about this GW team. Was they're definitely not the most talented team in the Atlantic 10, but they're so well coached and organized on both ends of the floor.
It's a system.
I think GW is what Coach Ergo would like the Fordham Rams to play like. That strikes me as a Fordham-style team.
GW to inbound, up high, it's Diane Nissa. Handoff here for Jones up high. It's now Castro to the left of the A10 logo. Jones on the near side will drive on Tripp. Crossover, lost the handle, retreat back to the perimeter. Jacoy Hutchinson, 3 on the shot clock. Hutchinson will step back over Timbila, off the rim and out. Tripp comes in for the rebound, quickly the other way to Johnson. Johnson ahead of steam, gets inside. Rivera has it, the dribble, and puts it off the glass and in.
That's the speed that the Rams are going to have to play with. Mach 10, break the sound barrier if they're hoping to get this GW team uncomfortable.
A furious fast break from the Rams, and it's 29-26, George Washington, under 6 to go first half. Jones up high. Fordham in their 3-2 zone look. Down low. Nissa got Rivera in the air. Missed the open layup, though. Tripped the rebound. For Rivera, he'll drive inside. There was some contact out to the far wing for Johnson. Tripp now on the near side. Tripp spins, gets to the paint with the right hand off the heel. A wide open layup for Jameer Tripp, and he bricked it.
$1 million move, 1 cent finish.
Jones has it for GW the other way. Under 5:30 to go first half. Autry on the near wing. Johnson on him. Inside for Castro at the free throw line. 1-on-1 against Abdu Timbila. Castro leans in and gets the finish.
And his move is unreal. His ability to move like a guard Castro with that shimmy jab and get Abdu out of position and then be the physical one and drop his shoulder and lay one off the window.
Japhet Medor for Josh Rivera, top of the key. Flip down low looking for Tripp off the underside of the basket. Tripp has it now to the far corner. Medor's three, too strong. Rebound Autry. 31-26 George Washington, 4:46 to go first half. Jones into the front court for GW. Out to the far wing, Autry. The corner, it's Hutchinson. Hutchinson drives baseline on Rivera. Bounce pass for Castro, gets the finish and the foul. Rafael Castro showing why he is so highly touted in this conference.
Hutchinson able to go baseline. You can't give that positioning up. And then able to just have that nice dump off to Castro. He is such a good player, man.
You see why he's a game breaker, because if you can just get the ball to him in the paint, it doesn't really matter if you perfectly contest it. He's going to make still a large portion of those shots. Again, you don't shoot 66.8% at the field on the volume that he shoots it if you're not making tough contested shots all the time. And that's how he can break open a game for this Revolutionaries team.
It's unreal basketball.
It's 33-26 GW with 4:34 to go first half. And one more free throw coming for Rafael Castro. Last year, this was a GW offense that ran through Darren Buchanan. He was the star of this team, but the system now really profiling Castro and highlighting him. And it's worked wonders. 9 A10 wins this year for this GW team. One more coming for Castro. 1 for 2 at the line so far. Bends the knees and gets it to go. He completes the three-point play. It's an 8-point GW lead. Abdou Tambila will check out for the Rams. It's Dean, Johnson, Rivera, Medor, and Tripp, the 5 for your Fordham Rams, as Tripp inbounds to Johnson in the backcourt.
Small ball here. Watch for some 5-out offense, some big threes.
Medor on this near wing, hands off for Jameer Tripp. At the A10 logo, another handoff for Johnson. Pressure up high from Bevins. Rivera straight away, drives on Hansen, hangs up in the air and gets the soft roll off the glass.
So physical, Josh Rivera, attacking the lane, finishing up his shot too. He boxed out after that one went up. That's a change in character.
Hansen out to the far wing for Drumgoole. Buchanan straight away, spinning on Tripp in the lane. To the corner, Drumgoole, he'll elevate. The triple short. Japhet Medor the rebound. Pushing the pace the other way for the Rams. Medor around Drumgoole on the far side. Inside for Tripp, spins in the lane, off the glass and in with the left hand. It's a 4-point game, 34-30 GW, 3:40 to go first half.
He made up for his brick inside a couple possessions ago with that one. That's a beautiful finish.
Jones, handoff for Bevins. Straight away, Hansen moves it right again for Bevins to the A10 logo for Jones. 12 on the shot clock. Jones out to the far wing, Drumgoole inside for Hansen, one-on-one with Rivera. Hansen fakes the hook shot, blocked by Rivera, but they're going to call a foul.
I thought he got ball there, but they see the hand contact. Jameer Tripp, he's a little shook up from hitting the floor, no call on the other end, and then they call him for that. That's just brutal mentally and physically for the Brooklyn kid.
So the foul goes against Jameer Tripp. It's 34-30 GW with 3:18 to go in the first half. We'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the one-on-one scoreboard with Ben Oppenheimer.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Let's take a look at some conference tournament games outside of the A10 as St. John's blew out Butler as the Red Storm took Madison Square Garden by storm. R.J. Lewis Jr. scored 20 points as his team advances and faces off against Marquette tomorrow at MSG at 6:30 p.m. Head coach Rick Pitino is hoping to make his team a conference tournament champion for the first time in 25 years. And then the ACC, Duke basketball beat Georgia Tech today with a final score of 78-70. Knuppel scored 28 points for the Blue Devils. Meanwhile, the Tar Heels advance as UNC beat Wake Forest 68-59, setting up a classic showdown between Duke and North Carolina tomorrow at 7 p.m. And the upstart Clemson Tigers are looking to make some noise in the tournament as well as they play SMU tonight at 9:30 p.m. And number 13 ranked Louisville will play Stanford tonight at 7 p.m. Once again, a reminder, right after this game between Fordham and GW, St. Joseph's will play LaSalle in what will be their first game of tournament play. Right after they beat LaSalle in the regular season, they're looking to do that one more time right after this one in Washington, D.C. With your one-on-one scoreboard update, I'm Ben Oppenheimer.
Back here inside Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. The score, GW 34, Fordham 30 with 3:18 to go in the first half. This Fordham team hanging tough against a GW team that blew the doors off them at the Rose Hill Gym on Wednesday. Fordham came into this A10 tournament as the number 15 seed, trying to make some history and going on a run here in D.C. Fordham, despite a little bit of a slow start, within 4 here against GW.
I mean, it is a little wild, the contrast, when you think about the 27-point loss to GW last Wednesday, which I'll go on record and say that was Fordham's worst game of the season. No effort, no intensity. They came out flat, and they got their doors blown off in their own home. A little bit different here. They're really battling. I think we've seen a much better effort. They had 23 points in the first half last Wednesday against the Revolutionaries. You're already at 30, and you still have 3 minutes to spare. GW's been the better team the majority, if not all, of this half. But Fordham's done enough to just stay in it. I think that's all you can ask for right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Rams are doing a great job of keeping up. Whenever they get punched, they get half a punch or a punch back. And you have Castro and Jones both perfect from the field for G-Dub, but you also have Hutchinson 0 for 3, and then Drongul 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. It's a balance for this GW squad. If everyone was firing on all cylinders, it'd be a different story.
Two shots coming here for Sean Hansen coming out of the media timeout. He knocks down the first. Sean Hansen, the Ivy League transfer from Cornell. He was a team captain. Pretty much the definition of a glue guy, will do all the little things for this GW team. He's one of the 3 guys who came into the starting lineup at the start of Atlantic 10 play, and they have not looked back since.
And he's all too familiar with the Rams. Some would say that that Cornell team started the death of Rose Thrill over in the Bronx.
Both free throws good for Hansen, 36-30 GW, 3:10 to go first half. Japhet Medor operating out of the far wing. Medor moves left for Johnson straight away. Driving left to the corner for Tripp. He gets inside, the jump step out to the far corner. Johnson's 3 is perfect again. Jackie Johnson with 15 points in the first half, picking up right where he left off yesterday.
That ball movement's unreal too from Tripp. The dribble drive, Jackie, his passer cutting baseline and getting the open 3. Wow.
Hansen for Drumgool on the far side. Pass right to Buchanan up top. With Castro on the bench, Buchanan hands off for Jones. To Buchanan again, near wing. Pass left for Jones straight away. Against Tripp, 5 on the shot clock. Jones out to the far corner. The fake, the 3, too strong. Rebound. Buchanan came down with it. Jones will drive inside for Autry. The up fake, he gets it to go.
Slow, methodical basketball. That's what we know this George Washington team to be. That's what they're being.
38-33 GW, 2:11 to go first half. Medor at the A10 logo. Moving now on the far wing. Medor moving back left straight away. Medor will drive left. Takes a bump in the lane off the front of the rim. His putback wouldn't go either. Sean Hansen the rebound. Jones on the far side crosses the timeline. 1:50 to go first half. Jones for Autry on the near wing. The triple's off the heel. Rebound Buchanan. He keeps it alive for GW. Buchanan now backing down Tripp. Gets to the lane. Buchanan with the left hand, foul by Tripp as the shot wouldn't go.
That's such a late call there from Buchanan. He waited for him to miss. If that shot goes in, there is no foul there. I can guarantee you that. Tripp is going hands back, doing everything he can. I don't understand that call. I'm not saying the ref's doing a bad job. I just don't understand it. I don't know where he saw the foul.
Keith Ergo is barking at the officials after that one.
No one on that Fordham bench looking happy with that call. With 1:35 to go first half, it's 38-33 GW and 2 free throws coming.
The thing I don't like the last 2 possessions is Fordham allowing GW to get back-to-back offensive rebounds. And the one on this most recent sequence that ends in them going to the line, Jameer Tripp's right there, doesn't box out, and the ball goes right over his head.
And it's also his 3rd foul. So by the second half, you're going to get one of your best scoring options in trouble, one of your starters.
First free throw from Buchanan is no good, too strong. Some substitutions coming in for GW. Ty Bevins back in the game, so is Diane Nissa. Zach Riley back in the game for the Fordham Rams. Jameer Tripp out, still showing his disgust to the bench about that call.
Yeah.
One more free throw to come for Darren Buchanan.
Foul count is wrong.
Buchanan makes the second. It's a 1-for-2 Tripp. 39-33 GW. 1:35 to go, first half. Medor, Riley, Dean, Johnson, Rivera. The 5 for Fordham as Medor crosses the timeline straight away. Johnson to Zach Riley at the Fordham logo. Handoff for Medor on the near wing. 13 on the shot clock. Medor moving right into the lane to the corner for Rivera. To the wing, Johnson straight away. Dean, he'll launch the 3 off front rim and out. Buchanan the rebound. Approaching a minute to go here in the first half. Timeout called by Chris Caputo as Jones crossed the timeline. GW will talk things over with 1:05 to go in the first half.
And you want to see the fruits of GW's labor. How about Japhet Medor, just 2 points, 0 of 7 from the field. A man that scored a Fordham record, or for himself, a Fordham high 26 points last time out against Rhode Island. Supposed to be the 1-2 punch, Johnson and Medor. It's really just been Johnson and that duo that's thrived today. And it's because, again, the Revolutionaries making things so tricky on the Rams. And the way it feels like right now is that Fordham really has no margin for error. They've got to play perfect. Does not feel that way for GW. Fordham's not challenging them on the other side the way that GW is challenging the Rams.
The largest lead for GW has been 8. Right now, it's 6 at 39-33 with 1:05 to go in the first half. But you're right, Lou. This feels like the kind of game where Fordham can't afford to have those 2-3 minute lapses that they typically have this season. They were so good against Rhode Island about not doing that, and even when the lead did get cut down, the whole capitulation never happened.
Yeah, I mean, there's just, again, I'm so afraid of the mental lapses that are to come for the Fordham Rams. They're so poised to let these little things get to them and let this lead balloon. If they want to win this game, they have to have a goldfish memory.
Jones has it at the A10 logo. Fordham again in that 3-2 look inside at the free throw line. Driving is Buchanan against Dean, off the glass with the left hand. Heavily contested shot, doesn't matter for Darren Buchanan. 41-33 GW, 45 seconds to go, first half. Medor, the far corner, spinning baseline, straight away for Riley. He fakes the 3, out to the far wing for Jackie Johnson. Johnson in the lane, up and under, missed the layup. Dean tips it to Rivera, who keeps it alive on the near side. 30 seconds to go in the first half. Riley's double teamed with Buchanan and Drumgoole. And we'll see what the call is here with 28.7 to go.
2 shots.
They're calling a foul, and that's to put Fordham in the bonus.
It's going to be 2 shots coming here.
They want a timeout.
I don't know about that call.
Riley was tied up in the corner with that double team.
That's a little generous.
You see, I agree. And you don't see that call made often on those doubles like that, especially when no one's able to dribble the ball. But if you rip enough times, and Riley was so good at keeping his pivot foot there, you can catch someone swiping down on your arms rather than the ball.
The other thing I'd be upset about
right in front of us.
if I'm GW, though, is that Zach Riley's trying to call a timeout there. And the whistle happens at the same exact time. The ref so could easily given that just a timeout to Zach Riley and the Fordham Rams.
Ergo burned it anyways.
If I'm GW, I'm a little upset.
I am as well. I'm calling bad refereeing, not bad refereeing. Refereeing I disagree with both ways. You don't see that call made often, but if you pivot enough and you're moving your arms enough, you can catch someone trying to swipe on you.
Listen, physical games, you're going to get fouls. Nick, to your point about what you were saying, Fordham can't afford too many droughts. Look at the live stats right now. It's a 2.5 minute scoring drought for the Fordham Rams, and a chance for Zach Riley to end it right here. You can't have too many of those spells in this game.
And 8 is the largest lead, or tied for the largest lead of the night for GW. 1-1 for Zach Riley. He makes the front end.
Zach Riley so poised at the free throw line. Doesn't get there a lot, but a player that's there for his physicality. He's a defensive mastermind. He's a great leader on this Fordham team.
The scoring's really dried up for Riley down the stretch, but all the other little things he does so well as he goes 2 for 2 from the line. 28.7 to go first half. Shot clock is off.
Nick and Chaz, his defense yesterday was a big part of that win.
Inbound to Jones in the backcourt. GW more than likely hold here for the final shot as Jones crosses the timeline. It's 41-35 GW. 20 seconds and counting in the first half. Jones holding at the A10 logo with 12. Jones still up high with 10. We'll move right against Riley with 8 seconds. Jones inside for Buchanan with 5. Buchanan crossover on Rivera. Went right into him and finishes anyway. Riley, the full court heave, didn't get it off in time. It hits the front of the rim from three-quarters court. But Darren Buchanan making his presence felt down low. It's 11 points for him now to lead all GW scores. He just went at Josh Romero inside.
Yeah, I mean, there's no two ways about it. He muscled his way into the paint and got a shot off that he liked. Not only is it the muscling, but he also has a pretty touch off the glass. It's him and Castro.
It's tough to hang in a game when the team you're playing shoots 55% from the field. And man, in the final stretch of that half, GW drove into the paint and they took what was theirs, contested shots that they made look easy. That is a tough first half by the Revolutionaries. 43 points from that offense.
So at the halftime break, it's GW 43, Fordham 35. We'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the one-on-one halftime report with Tucker Austin.
The one-on-one halftime report.
Good evening to everybody on 90.7 FM WFUV and on YouTube. Welcome to the one-on-one halftime report, a production of WFUV Sports live from inside the Rose Hill studio on the campus of Fordham University in the Bronx, New York. I am Tucker Austin, joined by Ben Oppenheimer. We have Will Talent, our assistant station manager behind the glass on radio production, and Jack Warner on video production tonight. And Ben, we find ourselves, at least Fordham finds themselves, in a deficit, 43-35. The George Washington Revolutionaries have the lead, and it's really been a story of points in the paint in this game, Ben. The differential a little glaring at this time, and really the reason why George Washington has their lead.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I just want to say it's great to be in the studio here with you, Tucker. You know, we had that great experience down in North Carolina, Davidson.
Oh, so much fun.
My former broadcast partner, now here in the studio with me. This is great, and I think you hit the nail on the head. You know, this is a game that there's obviously been some holes for Fordham, but they still find themselves, I was saying right before the buzzer sounded at the end of the half, I said they still are within striking distance. They're only down 8. I think they've been playing with some heart, some fire, some intensity, which is supposed to be their character. Sometimes it hasn't shown at numerous points throughout this season. But look, I mean, you have to love what you're seeing from Jackie Johnson III. 15 points, 5 for 9 from the field, 3 for 4 from beyond the arc, 2 for 2 from the line in 18 minutes. Also got 2 assists. So he's been carrying this Fordham offense right now, and, you know, salute to him for doing that. But he has a role to play in getting other players hot and more involved and really trying to rev up this offense and kind of avoid the tendency of ISO basketball. I've seen, you know, even in moments, games where this team has gotten ahead or they've won a close game, it's because of, you know, one superb play from a player that was doing something in isolation. What I want to see in the second half is try to get everyone involved, pass the ball around, get in transition, get those steals, use that Fordham identity to light a fire amongst your teammates and get back in this, because you could say they're still in it right now, but what they need to do is they need to avoid one player having it too much, drawing up one play specifically for one player. Got to get everybody involved. It's great that Jackie Johnson's doing great, but get everybody involved. That way you can pass inside to the paint like you mentioned, and also protect the paint from what George Washington is doing, and also from beyond the arc. They're doing a good job with that, guarding the perimeter, but the question is, you know, can they guard inside by the basket in the paint?
Yeah, and just to highlight the differential in points in the paint, for Fordham it's 12. For George Washington it's 26. So a pretty big gap there in terms of paint production. And, you know, it's only an 8-point deficit, though, which really that tells you that Fordham is like doing pretty much everything else well, or at least good enough to win. But, you know, they just can't seem to stop George Washington. You know, like we heard Lou say right before they sent it back to us, he said George Washington spent like the entire last half of the first half having their way with Fordham in the paint. And so I also actually, yeah, you mentioned too that Jackie Johnson having a great game. I thought pregame, I was wondering how long can Fordham ride the play of Japhet Medor and Jackie Johnson the way that they played against URI. And like their combined performance was excellent, but Jackie Johnson came out of the gates firing in this one. He was getting it done early and often, getting to the free throw line. How about that logo 3 in the first 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Like just pulling from the A10 logo at center court after a couple good looks didn't go Fordham's way. Shout out to Matt Zona for grabbing all those offensive boards, doing a great job. But yeah, that interior defense still struggling. And you mentioned getting the ball to some other players too.
Yeah.
Ramad Dean does have a couple of 3-pointers in this game. So Fordham not necessarily only relying on Jackie Johnson, although 15 points does lead the entire game in terms of scoring, and it's been the 3-point power, I think, for the Fordham Rams in this one because they're 5 for 11 from 3, and George Washington is 3 for 13. You mentioned the good perimeter defense from the Rams.
Yeah, so they have to keep piling that on and make that a huge disparity in the second half. Keep raining down the threes, pass it to any players open, getting them open looks, getting them warmed up so they're ready to have the ball thrown to them when they're open. And again, guard the perimeter like your glue on whoever you're defending. Keep that perimeter airtight, and then see what you can do to shore up the paint and inside near the basket. But you can't just focus on one thing at once. You have to do a little bit of everything. So really, I think the keys to winning this one, Tucker, are you got to make the threes and you got to keep defending the threes. And then you also got to defend the paint more than what they've done in the first.
Definitely need to shut down the paint scoring for George Washington because they're getting so many high percentage looks in the paint. Their shooting percentage is insane right now. They shot 55.2% from the floor in the first half. That's 16 for 29 total.
Yeah.
And like a bunch of their starters have been shooting really great. Christian Jones is 3 for 3. You look at Buchanan Jr.'s 4 for 6 tonight. Hanson's 3 for 4. These guys are knocking down all of their shots because they're getting really, really good looks in the paint.
And again, they're shooting 3 for 13 from 3, but what's making up for it is 16 for 29 overall on field goals. Just overall, that's 55%. So they really need to stop the bleeding there. But that doesn't mean let up the 3 and allow them to start making threes. You have to keep guard the perimeter and guard inside, and you can do both things at once. You can walk and chew gum at the same time, and that's what I think Coach Ergo is probably looking to tell his guys is to shore up that defense and stop getting punished every time a GW player is driving to the basket.
Yeah, and earlier on, I mentioned Jackie Johnson or Japhet Medor, who, if either of them is going to take over, and obviously Jackie Johnson, clearly, like he showed us who's going to take over in this game. But then on the flip side of that, Japhet Medor had a really, really cold start in this game. So you almost have to wonder, like maybe if Medor can start to find his touch a little bit from the field, Fordham could probably get right back into this game with him and Jackie Johnson both playing on a similar level. Medor does have 2 points on 2 free throws in this one. He's 0 for 7, though, from the floor, 0 for 2 from beyond the arc, so really, really cold start. But he has pulled down 5 rebounds, found a couple of assists so far, so he's filling up the stat sheet in other ways. But you do want to see more scoring from Japhet Medor. I mean, he's the second option on this team.
Yeah. I mean, right now, you definitely need him to wake up. Only 2 points, 0 for 7 from the field. Now is the time. The time is now. It's like the quote, if not now, when? That's a quote that Mr. Medor needs to have, in his mind in the second half. It is literally do or die here, and you have to get something going. And interestingly enough, Tucker, he's played 20 minutes, the most out of any of Fordham's roster, and he's got 2 points to show for it, 0 for 7 from the field. I think he definitely wants to reverse that in the second, and we'll just have to see if he's up for the challenge.
Yeah, we will. Also want to highlight, Yeah, Zach Riley. He's looked pretty decent. The stats aren't there, but we've heard his name a lot of times on this broadcast so far. Matt Zona doing some work on the boards. I mean, that play, like, I still want to go back to that half-court, well, little short of half-court 3 from Jackie Johnson. Matt Zona flying all over the place. He pinned a rebound up against the glass, and then, like, loose ball. He barely gets over into the corner, grabs the ball, and fires it back into Jackie Johnson, who's just, like, wide open, but standing, like, 4 or 5 feet away from the three-point line. He still pulls it in and goes. Yeah. Just an electric moment for the Fordham Rams. And, you know, a couple of times in that first half, like, they drew even with George Washington. They even took the lead a couple of times. So I definitely think that this game is still well within Fordham's not control, but well within. There's a chance for Fordham here to come out in the second half and bring it to George Washington, and I think it also goes to Fordham's advantage a little bit that they played and beat URI yesterday. George Washington was waiting for this game. This is their first game of the tournament. They had a bye. Fordham, though, is the hotter team because they just played yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, the second half, you really have to set the tone in the first 5 minutes. So that's what I'm looking for, is do they set a different kind of tone in those first few minutes coming right out of the gate, out of halftime, because that's going to determine the rest of the game. If they have a slow start but then pick up, halfway through the second half, I don't think that's going to cut it. And you have to attack. You have to bring that new sort of mentality, pretend it's a different game almost in the second. A lot of times games can be a tale of two halves, of two games. So we'll see if this team brings a different energy, a different attitude, a different strategy to the second.
We will see, Ben. This should be an exciting second half. Don't go anywhere. We will have action. We are out of time for this halftime show. Ben will be on updates during the second half, and the two of us will be right here in the studio for the post-game show. But it's time now to send you back to Nick, Lou, and Chaz in the nation's capital. Second half action between Fordham and George Washington is next on WFUV Sports.
Hi, my name is Ryan Rucco, WFUV class of 2008. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One-on-One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV sports.
Hey guys, it's Japhet Tripp from Fordham Men's Basketball. You can catch all of our games on 90.7 FM and the WFUV Sports YouTube page. And make sure to fill the hill this season as we celebrate 100 years in the Rose Hill Gym. WFUV is the home of Fordham basketball. Go Rams.
We are back here in Washington, D.C. George Washington 43, Fordham 35 at the half. We're a couple minutes away from the start of the second half here at Capital One Arena. This is Nick Guzman here alongside Lou Orlando and Chaz McAdams. The 8-point GW lead, guys, tied for their largest lead of the night so far. Fordham doing their best to hang tough, but this GW team making things very difficult for them on the offensive end.
And absolutely, the clashing of styles is so abundantly clear. And it just so happens that GW's is winning out again. This is a close game. It's an 8-point margin. It's a spot that Fordham's been in before. There's a sense on this team of, I think, especially after that Rhode Island win, that why can't it be us? But yeah, this GW is just slow, methodical basketball. You got guys like Castro and Jones and even Hutchinson just going out there. Even their dribbles, it's just so slow and methodical. Caputo has done such a good job of teaching these guys how to play his game his way.
And Nick, we had wondered off the air coming into this one, rest versus rust. GW had the Saturday off leading into the A10 tournament, so in some ways almost like a double bye where you get the bye on the weekend and then you have the day one bye going into the tournament. So 7 days off of actual A10 game action, and they come out and they look smooth, man. 43 points, playing physical on the offensive end. They are getting to the paint. I don't want to say with ease because I think that's a little bit of a discredit to the Fordham Rams, but I don't think Fordham's doing enough to stop them. And when you look at 26 points in the paint for GW to just 12 for Fordham, that's the clear disparity in this game. I think of the moments down the stretch, Darren Buchanan just driving into the lane, making tough contested twos. I think that's the difference in this game.
And it hasn't really been Rafael Castro. Yes, he has 8 points on 3 of 3 shooting, but he's only played 9 minutes out there. Darren Buchanan has played 12 and already 11 points on 4 of 6 shooting, and has made some tough shots in the lane against a variety of different Fordham defenders. The Rams have tried different matchups on Buchanan, but he's so good when he gets down low.
I guess if you're a Fordham fan, what you really don't hope is that they were saving 20 minutes of Castro for the second half, because he's been borderline unstoppable under the rim. Whether it's Abdu, Zona, Tripp, Rivera, no one can stop Castro. And then obviously you have Buchanan off the bench playing some of his best basketball in the history of his time in the A10 tournament. These guys are a group that wants to play the game slowly. And you don't really see that a lot. You know, guys like to go run up and down the court. I think these guys, they like the X's and O's. They like running through Caputo's offense. They like backdoor cuts and the elevator screens and all that nonsense because they love basketball, and it's really going to show out here, and we'll see if it goes to show in the second half.
And I tell you what, one of the biggest narratives around GW this season has been the reduced role of Darren Buchanan in A10 play, losing his role in the starting lineup, seeing reduced minutes, seeing, frankly, reduced efficiency and effectiveness. If you just watched his 2 games against the Fordham Rams, you would not be able to tell. Double-digit points last Wednesday against Fordham. Right now, he leads the GW Revolutionaries with 11 points and 4 of 6 shooting. He's been a force inside. If you just picked up this game with no prior knowledge, you would say that's GW's best player. He was last year.
He was last year and showing it again out there tonight. On the Fordham side of things, Jackie Johnson with 15 points. Behind him, Ramadine with 6, Josh Rivera with 6 as well. Yesterday, guys, it was a two-headed monster really between Jackie Johnson and Japhet Medor, but only one half of that two-headed monster has really showed up in that first half.
And Japhet really struggled last year in the 2 A10 tournament games. He was dealing with that fractured foot. He was very limited offensively. He exploded yesterday against Rhode Island. If Fordham wants to have any dreams about winning this game, advancing to the quarterfinals, Japhet Medor needs to be a part of that picture.
He was 0 of 7 from the field in that first half. GW will inbound and get us going. They're moving from right to left with possession in the front court. Castro in the short corner finds Hansen inside, deflected out of bounds by Japhet Medor. And GW will keep it with 20 on the shot clock.
And you know what? If things aren't going well for you offensively, make good plays away from the ball. He's got 5 rebounds. He knocks the ball away there. That's a nice positive play.
Autry to Castro on this near side. Feeds the post for Hansen. Quickly whipped out to the far side for Autry. Straight away, they go around the horn to Drumgoole on this near wing. 9 on the shot clock. Drumgoole for Hansen, left elbow. Hansen flips down low. Castro is positioning on Dean. Blocked from behind by Tripp, but they'll get Jameer for another foul.
And they're playing physical in there. That's a good up fake there. Castro, he got the steal that he wanted. Hansen, a really nice passer from the nail. I want to see more action like that. And yeah, just Tripp, a little too physical there.
And that's 4 fouls now on Jameer Tripp, so he will sub out of the game, most likely after this first free throw.
Josh Rivera went up to the scorer's table to sub in. He looks in towards that huddle, and he put both index fingers on his temple to say head in the game. That was not a very smart play by Jameer Tripp.
First free throw from Castro is good. Mentioned he only played 8 minutes in that first half, a little uncharacteristic, but GW did not miss a beat with Buchanan taking over right where Castro would have been.
Let's be clear, Castro plays a ton. This is a man that averages basically 30 minutes a game.
Second free throw is good. It's a 2-for-2 trip for Rafael Castro. It's a 10-point GW lead 30 seconds in. Second half, and it's their largest lead of the night. Medor at the A10 logo for Fordham. Their first offensive possession of the second half. Ramadine has it, circling right. Handoff up high for Jackie Johnson. Bounce pass to Tambila to the far side. In the corner, that's Rivera. He'll line up the three and knock it down. Big shot from Josh Rivera to get Fordham going in the second half.
Big shot with a big hand in his face. Castro up in his grill. Rivera making it regardless.
GW by 7, a minute gone by here, second half. Jones up high. A screen from Hansen as Jones moves left up high. Pushed out to the far wing for Autry, into the post for Hansen, backing down Rivera. Hansen spins right, shot no good, it was short. Abdu Tambila the rebound. Ahead for Japhet Medor. On the far side wing. Medor handoff for Johnson right in front of Keith Ergo. High screen from Tambila. Johnson moving right to Dean. Pushed further for Rivera. He'll try another triple. That's too long. Rebound Autry. And back the other way come GW. Jones into the front court. Medor on him. Jones will try the three. Too strong. Rebound Japhet Medor. Pushing the pace for Fordham. Medor drives, spins on Jones, throws up the shot. A foul is called, and Japhet Medor will go to the line for 2.
And that's what you need. You need your star point guard to attack the rack. Now, don't be surprised if off a make here, Fordham goes into their zone press.
18:09 to go here, second half, 45-38 GW. Japhet Medor mentioned his offensive struggles in that first half. Even if the shooting isn't going well from the field, still so good at absorbing contact and getting to the free throw line. First free throw from Medor is good.
And I'll say, credit this. Chaz, you've always talked about Japhet Medor's composure. That's what makes him such a good point guard. He doesn't look like someone out there who's pressing, that thinks that he's struggling offensively. He's just running the offense like a smooth operator, even though the success shooting the ball hasn't been there. I think that's so impressive.
Second free throw from Medor would not go. His first miss here at A10s across 2 games almost. 45-39 GW, 18 minutes to go, second half. Jones in the front court for the Revolutionaries. Johnson watching him at the logo. Jones pass left for Autry. He'll try the three and knock it down. Trey Autry buries the triple, back to a 9-point GW lead.
They call him Trey for a reason. That guy can really lace him from deep.
Medor, handoff for Johnson, who passes left to Rivera at the A10 logo. Right back for Johnson on the near side. Whip down low for Abdu Tambila. He's quickly double teamed. Up high Rivera to the far side Medor. He's open. He missed the three. Dean, the offensive board, out to Johnson near wing. His triple, that goes. Jackie Johnson, 48-45. 42 rather, 48-42. It's a 6-point GW lead. 17-15 to go, second half. Revolutionaries by 6. Jones driving baseline, kicks to the corner. Autry's three blocked by Rivera. It comes back down to Autry, out to Drumgoole on the far side. Drumgoole drives baseline. Underneath, that shot wouldn't go. Dean fighting for the board. It'll finally come to Johnson, but they're going to get a kickball against GW. So it'll be Fordham basketball anyway.
Hectic. It's good. It's good that kickball happened. Slow things down. Fordham's getting a little too hectic.
Yeah, but at some point, you gotta recognize the edge that you have over this GW team, and that is hectic basketball. We've seen Jackie Johnson hit some crazy transition threes. We've seen Japhet Medor be horizontal yesterday on this very court and hit some and-one layups. That's the edge you have.
48-42 GW, under 17 minutes to go, second half. 18 points now for Jackie Johnson to lead all scorers. Josh Rivera to Johnson on the far wing. No hesitation. He'll bury another three. Jackie Johnson, 21 points. He's on fire here in D.C.
Oh my gosh. Jackie Johnson, what did I just say? Transition three, absurd shot from the parking lot.
He's keeping them in this game.
It's a 3-point GW lead. Jones right elbow. Gets it back up high from Autry. Swung left to Drumgoole near wing. Against Tambila. Drumgoole lost his dribble. Inside for Hansen, top of the key. 8 seconds. Hansen, beautiful feed down low, and Drumgoole, the reverse layup.
His passing has been unreal today. Hansen, whether it's a bounce, an overhead, an entry, whether he needs a baseline to baseline, Sean Hansen's your playmaker.
That makes it 50-45 GW, under 16 to go, second half. Medor for Abdu Tambila, top of the key. Tambila, handoff for Johnson straight away. Now moving left around Hansen. Johnson, cross-court pass, looking for Dean in the near corner. He couldn't corral it. Almost an Odell Beckham-type pass needed. Keith Ergo furious with Abdu Tambila as we head into this timeout. It'll be GW ball with 15:46 to go in the second half to score. GW 50, Fordham 45. You're listening to Fordham men's basketball on WFUV Sports.
I'm Chaz McAdams.
And I'm Ben Oppenheimer.
And we are two of your hosts for On the Hill, the flagship podcast of Fordham Athletics.
We'll be talking about everything from football at Moglia Stadium
to hoops at the historic Rose Hill Gym.
Discussing the ins and outs of all Ram athletes, teams, and big games.
If you want to be part of the Ramily, then listen to On the Hill from WFUV Sports.
Welcome back here to Washington, D.C., inside Capital One Arena. Nick Guzman here alongside Lou Orlando and Chaz McAdams. The score, George Washington 50, Fordham 45 with 15:46 to go in the second half. Guys, Jackie Johnson has came to play here at A10's 29 points yesterday, 21 points already just 5 minutes into the second half. Been so impressive on offense.
The A10's second leading scorer, top 50 in the nation, showing up when it matters most, and I thought it was very interesting post-game after the Rhode Island game. Keith Urgo, who's always been a staunch defender of his players, telling the media, I understand why Jackie Johnson and Japhet Medor weren't on the all-conference teams. I understand that we didn't have a record to have a lot of representation on those teams. But he did say these are individual awards, and when you look at their stats, you should make a case that they should have been considered, that they should have been there. I think the person that had the best chance was Jackie Johnson, second in the conference in scoring. And you don't think he wants to keep playing basketball. His career might end the second Fordham loses. And he's playing his absolute heart out. He's the only reason Fordham is still striking distance in this game. 21 points with 15 minutes still left in the second half. He's been unreal today.
Yeah, Jackie Johnson, collegiate career could come to an end. I think he's got a very nice overseas pro career ahead of him. That's honestly, if we're keeping everything 100, that is why Jackie Johnson was at Fordham. To tune up his game, to get those stats, to put the ball in the basket and show scouts what he can do. We're in NIL player empowerment era, I'll be totally honest. Now, the Jackie Johnson, the fact that what he's able to do contributes to Fordham basketball winning games is not an accident. He's been so good for this Rams team.
And he is 5 of 6 from 3 tonight. Jackie on the season shooting closer to 30% from deep, but he's been on the money, some deep triples as well. It'll be GW basketball coming out of this media timeout. Inbound here to Jacoy Hutchinson. They lead by 5, 15:40 to go, second half. Hutchinson against Johnson on the far wing. Hutchinson moving right. Right elbow for Castro, bounced off his foot. Dean to the ground, got a hand on it. Last touch off of Ahmad Dean, though. GW will keep it on the sideline.
Keith Urgo made him get out there and give him a high five because he loves plays like that. That's attitude, Chaz.
That's a dive. That's a dive. That's a point in attitude there.
14 on the shot clock for George Washington. They'll inbound right at midcourt through Trey Autry. Jackie Johnson providing the pressure in the backcourt, forces them to go to Castro at midcourt. The handoff now for Jacoy Hutchinson at the logo. Hutchinson working against Johnson for Castro in the lane to the near corner. Autry's triple is on the money again.
Trey Autry, 3 points. That guy has been unhinged for the Revolutionaries.
Back up to an 8-point GW lead, 53-45. 15:05 to go. Zona up high, lost it to Castro. Against Medor, he went for the strip. Castro fought through it and finishes off the glass. Timeout called by Keith Urgo. 55-45 GW. It's back to a 10-point lead with 14:59 to go, second half.
And plays like that'll kill you. The telegraph pass from Japhet Medor, again, it's all in the scout. This GW staff did a great job of scouting this Fordham offense. They know when the passes are going. They know where the passes are going. And that's why they've been able to get so many steals, points off turnovers.
And again, right, it's a GW team that this is their bread and butter. They force steals, they force turnovers. Fordham only had 3 turnovers in the first half. I saw that as a massive success. They only have 5 on the game, but Chaz, they've all been crucial turnovers that have immediately swung momentum. They've been big momentum-killing plays. So every turnover that Fordham has, again, it's not the quantity, it's the time and place that they happen that's been the issue.
The Jackie Johnson-type turnovers that we've seen a lot in the last 2 games of the regular season.
How about this, guys? Jackie Johnson, 7 of 11 from the field. The rest of the Fordham team, just 8 of 24.
Well, while we're doing stats, we've got our guy Joe Henry out in London feeding us stuff.
Statistician from across the pond.
How about it? 5 threes by Jackie Johnson today. That ties the Fordham record for the most threes in a tournament game.
Oh, wow.
He's got 50 points through 2 tournament games. That's the most by any Ram in a 2-game stretch in tournament history. It tops Khalid Moore. Remember the 2023 season? That was fun.
My gosh,
he had 44 points in the quarterfinal and semifinal of that year's run. How about Jackie Johnson making some Fordham history before he goes out?
I think no matter what the result is, I think Jackie probably has a pretty good chance to be named to an all-tournament team when things are all said and done.
I think so. I mean, listen, like we're pretty close connected to people in the A10 media who, when we suggested that Jackie Johnson should have been on the all-tournament team, said, it doesn't matter. Fordham's irrelevant. They're last place in the conference. Jackie's just the best player on the worst A10 team. My argument would be, well, yes, that is technically true. Jackie's efficiency at the volume that he shoots it, he leads the A10, and he's 12th in the nation in field goals attempted. The fact that he's shooting 43% on the season is insane at that volume. For a guard like that takes, let's be blunt, I would say bad shots at time. He takes heat checks. It seems like routinely every single game. He's been such an asset for this team, and it really feels like if they had a better roster, if they had a better run, his success would have been more appreciated, both by the Fordham community and by the A10.
Yes, and his game is not perfect, obviously.
Absolutely not.
But
he's
I think
turnover prone.
Yes,
he takes a lot of shots.
But I think you need to appreciate the way he can score the basketball, the tough shots he can make from all around the floor.
On a Fordham team that needs scoring.
Yeah, a lot of nights this season it's been Jackie Johnson doing the bulk of it. Rivera inbounds to Zona in the backcourt. Some pressure here from GW, but Medor will escape across the timeline on the far side. Josh Rivera up high. Handoff for Ahmad Dean straight away. He'll fake the 3. Pass right to Johnson. High screen from Zona. Johnson will step into a triple. In and out. Could not get the roll on that one. Castro the rebound. 14:35 to go second half. 55-45 George Washington. Jacoy Hutchinson on the far side with Johnson watching him. Hutchinson moving left. Feed down low for Castro, working against Zona. Castro lost his dribble for Buchanan down low. Ahmad Dean on him. Facing the basket. Buchanan now spins. Back right. Took a bump. Off the glass and in. Offensive foul. Ahmad Dean took the bump, and they're going to get it on Buchanan. Fordham basketball.
Yeah, drop shoulder, chest play. Ramad does a good sell. That's textbook. I don't like the booze. I don't like the booze.
We're in Washington, D.C. George Washington, not too far away. Pretty solid home crowd for them, voicing their displeasure.
The second charge drawn on the part of the Rams.
14:13 to go. Second half. 10-point GW lead. Fordham to inbound in the backcourt. They've gone scoreless across the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It's a 7-0 GW run across that span. Medor has it in the front court on this near side. Crossover, he'll drive. The jump step for a cutting Rivera. He was fouled. Looked like he got stripped as he went up with it. And some body contact there as well, and Josh Rivera draws the foul.
And some momentum swing plays. A foul on Buchanan. First, he gets a foul drawn on him with the charge, and then he fouls Rivera going up for 2. Now Josh Rivera at the line.
And this is the spot where we'll see just how improved Josh Rivera really is at the free throw line. Finished around 53% on this season. Takes so much contact. He's worked so hard on this part of his game. First free throw rattles home from Josh Rivera. Sean Hansen will check back into the game for GW. Buchanan comes out.
To your point on the strides Rivera has made, it was not always a guarantee that he would make a single shot at the line. Now it feels like he's at least always good for 1 for 2. That's a big step in his game.
It's a big step from where we were last year.
It's a leap. It is a leap. Neil Armstrong level step.
Second shot coming here for Rivera. He bends the knees and knocks it down. How about a 2-for-2 trip for Josh Rivera?
That's pretty.
8-point GW lead. Castro in the backcourt with Fordham providing some pressure. Ahead for Jones with a head of steam. Into the front court, Jones retreated to Castro, top of the key, back for Jones. Medor on him. High screen from Castro, foul on Japhet Medor as Jones tried to make his move.
I mean, if they're going to call it like that, they call it like that. I'm fine with that. I could see some contact there. You look at, especially coming off a screen, Japhet gets beat and is on the back hip, and a ball goes flying. But you see, 9 times out of 10, that's not getting called. That's a fumble on the part of Jones.
Jones to inbound here to Castro up top. Zona backing off him. Johnson's going to get whistled for a foul here as Hutchinson tried to move towards the ball. Ramad Dean leaps up and prevents that free after the whistle from going in.
Love some good sportsmanship.
Don't let him see it go in. Third team foul against the Rams. And another side-out inbound coming directly in front of me.
How about that?
Christian Jones will inbound for GW.
What a treat for Nick Guzman.
Such a treat, and I love my treats. Jones gets it in up high to Castro. Zona on him. Castro out to the far side. Hutchinson in the corner making his move. He's double teamed, feet inside for Castro. Foul on the floor. Castro was wide open down low after that pass got through. What a foul as Hutchinson made his cut.
Is that 3 fouls in 10 seconds of game time for the Fordham Rams?
I'm going to comment before this sequence how Fordham had done a good job staying out of foul trouble in this half. Not really
your
anymore.
Fault for thinking it.
That's 4 quick personal fouls on Fordham. 3 quick ones, I should say, in this last sequence. Inbounded to Castro on the far side. He'll back down against Medor. He took the bump. Shot no good. Castro gets the board. Puts it back up and in, and the foul. Just bigger than who was down low.
I'm a little confused in how Medor gets matched up with Castro off the inbound. That feels like a major mistake on the part of the Fordham Rams. He actually misses the first shot, but again, he's so big, so good at getting to the rim. That ball falls right back down there for him. He can go back up.
And Zona was already in the air going for the block because he was behind him. Normally on my hands back, barely even jump kind of guy on defense, but if you're behind him on the hip, you might as well go for a pin.
That's 3 on Zona.
Rafael Castro has 14 points in 16 minutes on 5 of 6 shooting. We haven't seen a ton of him. Every time he's gotten the ball, though, he's doing something positive with it, and he knocks down the free throw as well.
I think it's time for Abdu. You need some more reliable 5 presence. You can't have Trippin because he has 4 fouls. Zona's got 3.
Makes it 58-47 GW. 13:20 to go second half. Johnson across the timeline for the Fordham Rams. Handoff on the near side for Japhet Medor. Pass left for Rivera at the A10 logo. 13 on the shot clock for Fordham, still with Rivera. Rivera moving left, will get inside. Zone is open up high. He'll pop the triple off front rim and out. Castro the board. That Zona's shot just has not been falling for him down the stretch of this season. In no hurry is Jacoy Hutchinson across the timeline. Jackie Johnson on him. On the far side, the screen from Hansen, down low. Hansen has it on the pick and roll. Zona on him. Hansen for Castro at the free throw line. Castro will retreat back to the perimeter, 5 on the shot clock. Castro has to hurry with 2. Rivera blocked it, and that's going to be a jump ball as Josh Rivera blocked it.
You got to know time and score there. If you're Castro, kept the ball, retreat dribbled out with less than 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Rivera able to stuff him right at the top of the key.
A rare mistake from such a stellar player.
I mean, that was crazy. He looked up at the shot clock when there was 5 seconds left, and he had no idea where he was.
And Rivera put his just palm on the ball without even having to jump.
Without even knowing what was happening.
So it's Fordham basketball. Possession arrow favors the Rams. Medor has it on the far side. Down by 11. Ramad Dean now with it. Handoff at the logo for Johnson. The pump fake. He'll drive left. The lefty floater in the lane. Gets the soft roll off the front of the rim. Back within single digits. It's 58-49 GW. 12-10 to go in the second half. Hutchinson. Another screen from Hansen. He'll drive inside. Hutchinson. The finger roll is good. Beautiful, beautiful finish from Jacoy Hutchinson.
And you had 3 maroon jerseys going up with him, and that white and gold just filleted it right off the window.
Medor. Handoff for Dean to Johnson at the logo. Pass left for Rivera. will drive right through the lane. A lot of contact, no call. Shot wouldn't go. 2-on-1 the other way for GW. Jones against Medor. He missed the reverse. Rebound comes to Johnson. He'll settle things down here for Fordham. 11:33 to go, second half. Johnson drives, open is Dean. He'll pump in the corner. The triple would not go off the front of the rim. Rebound Buchanan. Fordham getting open looks. The shot's not falling now in the second half. For GW, this is Hutchinson on the near side. Fordham down by 11 in that 3-2 zone look on this possession. Rivera, the middleman. Hutchinson out to the far side for Jones in the corner. Hanson's triple, no good. That's short. Medor rather, sliding on the floor for the board. It's loose, and Medor gets it to Johnson. Into the front court. Johnson all the way. Couldn't get the finish, but he got fouled, and Jackie Johnson will go to the free throw line. With 10:57 to go in the second half, the score, GW 60, Fordham 49. We'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the one-on-one scoreboard with Ben Oppenheimer.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Let's dive into the world of the NBA as the Knicks are coming off an overtime buzzer-beater win in Portland against the Trailblazers last night, thanks to Mikal Bridges' miracle three that gave New York the win. Bridges led all scorers with 33 points. The Knicks are trying to get through this final stretch of their regular season relatively unscathed as they're without their superstar point guard and captain Jalen Brunson for a couple of weeks. The Knicks will play the Golden State Warriors in the Bay Area on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Meanwhile, for the crosstown team, the Brooklyn Nets are in Chicago to play the Bulls tonight at 8 p.m. The Nets have struggled this season with a record of 22-43, and they're looking to get a break as they've gone 2-8 in their last 10 games. They'll be back home on Saturday to play Jason Tatum and the defending champion Boston Celtics at 6 p.m. The Celtics are second in the Eastern Conference with a record of 47-19, behind the surging Cleveland Cavaliers, who have a record of 55-10 and have won 15 in a row. In some other games across the association today, the LA Lakers will play the Milwaukee Bucks at 7:30 p.m., broadcast on TNT. Then right after that one, the Kings will face off against the Warriors in San Francisco at 10 p.m. That's your one-on-one scoreboard update. I'm Ben Oppenheimer.
George Washington 60, Fordham 49. That's the score with 10:57 to go in the second half here at Capital One Arena, the second round of the Atlantic 10 Tournament. Winner advances to the quarterfinal against George Mason. This is Nick Guzman here alongside Lou Orlando and Chaz McAdams. Guys, here with Fordham down 11, 10:57 to go. You feel like if the Rams are going to make a run to get back into this one and cut into the lead, it has to happen soon.
If I'm Coach Keith Urgo, my five is Abdu, Zona, Zach Riley, Jackie Johnson, Japhet Medor. You go 5 seniors, 10 minutes and 57 seconds. How do you want your story to be written? How do you want to end your college basketball career? Do you want to do it today, or do you want to live to die another day? 10 minutes and 57 seconds for the rest of your careers. How are you going to define yourselves, and how is the world going to define you?
Fordham's already somewhat salvaged the ending of their season, one of 9 teams in A10 history to be the last seed and just simply win a game in the tournament. Winning 2 games in the tournament as a last seed is almost unthinkable. It's only happened twice. Believe it or not, they are still in this game. It's not looking great. GW has continued to be the stronger team for the majority of this game, but Chaz is right. You got time for one last push here to go on a run.
Johnson knocks down the first free throw. You feel like with the way Jackie Johnson's shooting the ball, it's got to be in his hands down the stretch to try to create something.
This is honestly, I sounded kind of crazy in my own head talking about that Zona Abdu duo. This is the team you run it against because they have 2 non-shooters in at almost all times. If they go small ball, which Computer almost never does, then you make the sub. But I would go that lineup that I said, genuinely.
Most free throws good for Jackie Johnson. It's 60-51 GW. They have the ball in the front court. Hutchinson double teamed up high by Johnson and Timbila. Out to the far wing, Drumgoole, his triple's good. Gerald Drumgoole. Double-digit lead once again for GW. They're up by 12.
Pure shot for him.
Medor at the A10 logo. There's 10:30 to go in the second half. Fordham trying to avoid their season ending with the loss tonight. Medor inside, Timbila's open, the up fake goes up with the right hand off the glass and in. Strong move down low for Abdu, back to a 10-point game. 10-10 to go, second half. Hutchinson straight away for GW with Johnson on him. Screen from Castro, the feed down low goes to Rafael Castro. Buchanan to the near corner. Autry will pop the three off the heel. Johnson could not get the board. It comes to Hutchinson, who finishes at the rim. Johnson trying to go and transition the other way. Hutchinson just a step ahead of him.
GW passes up an open two to get the three, and they miss. You can't allow them to get that rebound then.
65-53 Revolutionaries. 9:37 to go, second half. Medor on the far wing. Timbila sets the screen up high. Medor circling right, still on the perimeter. Out to the far corner. Dean's three is short. Rebound Buchanan. Back the other way for GW. Buchanan still with it against Dean. Will go all the way. He drew the foul. No hesitation there from Darren Buchanan, taking that thing right to the hole.
Buchanan again. You forget. I was where do I recognize him? Oh, from playing 40 minutes a game last year for the Revolutionaries. You know, guys like that. It's I can't fathom why he's not a bigger part of this piece. I guess because they did start to go on a run when he was injured. But I'm also remiss to not say Garrett Johnson is missing in this lineup as well. This is a big GW team of what ifs, and they still were able to get that first round bye. And it's slowly starting to look like they're going to advance.
I mean, if you're starting to look towards next year and be hopeful for the Rams,
gosh, yeah.
Think about this year-to-year span of GW. Finished dead last in the A10 in 2024, the 15 seed. They lost round one. Now here you are, a 7 seed with a bye.
Buchanan goes 1 for 2 at the line.
And if you hold on here, you can go to the quarterfinals.
Second free throw off the heel. Medor the other way for Fordham. They're down by 13. Splits through the double team and lays it in underhand. Beautiful move from Japhet Medor. His first made field goal of the night. He's 1 for 9. At the logo, Jacoy Hutchinson for GW. Under 9 to go, second half. Hutchinson, again the pick and roll for Castro out to the far wing. Autry's three, in and out. Johnson batted for the board. It comes to Autry though. He has it and will retreat to the far side. Up high again, it's Hutchinson. Another screen from Castro. Hutchinson against Timbila straight away. Down low for Castro. Trip on him. Underneath the basket. Castro gets it to go.
What a great move there from Hutchinson. Able to realize where he needs to be and getting that pass around the long arms of Jameer Tripp.
68-55 GW. 8:20 to go. Second half. Johnson knifes through the lane. High off the glass. Would not go, but he got bumped. More free throws coming for Jackie.
And that looks hands back there too, but again, you have to, your momentum can't be going into a player. It doesn't matter where your hands are. Knocked him a little too hard. Jackie's got to earn his at the stripe and finally stop the bleeding for the Fordham Rams.
For the Fordham Rams, it's Jackie Johnson with 25 points. The next leading scorer, Josh Rivera. He's the only other Ram in double figures. It's really been all Jackie tonight against GW. If there's going to be a run here down the stretch, you feel like it's going to be in the hands of number 15 as he makes the first free throw.
Unfortunately, Fordham just didn't get enough from the other key players on their roster earlier in the game. I think Jameer Tripp getting 3 fouls very early and essentially getting erased from this rotation because of his foul trouble was a big loss.
Johnson knocks down the free throw. He goes 2 for 2.
And of course, Medor's struggle, that's going to hurt as well.
So it's 68-57 GW. 8:15 to go, second half. Tripp in the game here with those 4 fouls. Jones has it up high. Another 3-2 zone look for Fordham. Drumgoole near wing. Pass right for Jones straight away. Jones right to the corner for Autry. Back to the middle for Jones. Swing left for Drumgoole. 7 on the shot clock. Feed to Buchanan. Buchanan low block. Backing down Tripp. The righty hook couldn't get the roll. Rebound off the hands of Castro as he went for the putback. Medor lightning fast the other way in transition. All the way to the basket. Couldn't get the shot to go. Timbila bats the rebound back out to Johnson. He fakes the three. Now he'll take it and knock it down again. Jackie Johnson is on fire. Give him 30 points on the night. 68-60 GW.
Chaz, you said chaos was an asset for the Rams. That's chaos personified right there.
Absolutely.
Jones out to the far wing. Autry. Fordham still in the zone. Buchanan straight away. Jones fakes the three. He'll drive. Autry far wing. The fake. The step, and he knocks down the three. Autry with the answer, back to an 11-point GW lead.
For every Fordham punch, there's a GW punch back.
7:05 to go in the second half. Zach Riley moving left to right on the perimeter. It's for Jameer Tripp at the A10 logo. Pass left for Johnson. Will squeeze his way through the lane. Johnson, double team, doesn't matter. 32 points for Jackie Johnson as he knocks it down from the left elbow.
And you got to pray it's not too little too late. The other Rams have to look at what Johnson's doing, willing them to get back into this game and follow suit.
71-62 GW, 6:37 to go. Second half, Jones out to the far side. Autry, still the 3-2 zone. Drumgoole down low for Castro. Inside for Buchanan against Tripp. Buchanan blocked away by Abdu. Loose near the baseline. Out of bounds on the sideline. Fordham basketball.
Beautiful, beautiful defense. The 3-2 has been the victory formation for the Fordham Rams. They got to stay in it. They got to stay in the press, and then they got to get back into the 3-2 zone in the half court.
And still not in a great spot right now. You're down 9. A 9-point swing against this Revolutionaries team is going to be difficult. The one thing I love, outside of 32 points from Jackie Johnson, is I think the Rams right now, they're playing with heart, they're playing with intensity, they're playing with focus. You love to see that they don't want to go out here, that they don't want their spring break to start early. They want to keep going here. At the very least, that's what you need to see down the stretch.
Want, no give, bend, don't break. Keep maintaining excellence and fight like you depend on it.
Because, listen, the Fordham Rams have played far from a flawless game. I think they've been subpar rebounding. I actually think the way they've allowed GW to rack up offensive rebounds in this second half has really hurt Fordham in terms of coming back. I think their lack of scoring diversity is a big knock on them in this game. The fact that you have 32 from Jackie Johnson and outside of 11 from Josh Rivera, there's not a ton to speak of elsewhere. The Fordham Rams have played undoubtedly a flawed game. Talking about a 3-15 team in conference that came in and everyone essentially shooed off. The fact that they're still in this game and showing passion, that was not a given. A little worried coming into the first round game that we might see what we saw against GW and Rhode Island to end the season. No energy, no focus, no connection. Somehow the Rams have dug deep and found something in them. And the question is it enough against these more talented teams in the A10?
They're within single digits here. It's 71-62 GW, 6:24 to go. Second half, guys, those 32 points for Jackie Johnson breaks the all-time Fordham single-game record in the Atlantic 10 tournament. Marcus Stout had the previous record with 31 way back in 2005. So this is a historic performance we're seeing from Jackie Johnson at Capital One Arena.
Historic to say the least. I mean, Jackie is a historic player, and he's making the A10 people, the admin here in the Ring of Honor, in the upper decks of the Capital One Arena, feel so bad that they didn't put him on any of those all A10 teams.
I tell you what, they have a chance to make up for it. I think no matter what happens in this game, Fordham's going to end up on the or Jackie Johnson's going to end up on the all-tournament team. I think it's a disgrace if he doesn't.
I mean, 29 yesterday, 32 today. He's the reason why Fordham are within 9 in this game. It's 71-62 GW with 6:24 to go in the second half.
It's so frustrating because how many years did you look at Fordham and go, you know, man, they play great as a team, they play great defense. If only they had a more electric scorer, and this year it's the exact opposite. They've got the scorer, second in the A10 in scoring. They just don't have the defense. They just don't have the team connectivity.
Fordham basketball coming out of this media timeout. Japhet Medor across the timeline for Fordham. Riley, handoff for Johnson, who hands off for Tripp at the logo. High screen Timbila. Tripp picks up his dribble, pass left for Medor. Medor will drive through the lane, off the glass and in. Finally, some shots starting to fall for Japhet Medor, just his second make of the night. 71-64 GW.
Check the zone press here.
Hutchinson has it up high into the middle of the zone for Buchanan. Out to the perimeter, swung to the near wing for Hutchinson. With Timbila on him, 10 on the shot clock. Hutchinson drives right, gets inside, high off the glass. Couldn't get it to go, but a foul is called against Abdu Timbila. And it'll be free throws for GW.
Zach Riley going perfect hands back there. Abdu, the crash help, fouling him pretty hard. You got to have more awareness on the court if you're number 30.
That's the third for Timbila, so now that's Tripp with 4, Zona, and Timbila with 3.
Ramad Dean with 3 fouls as well.
That's 4 big ones. That's 4 key players in your rotation that are in foul trouble, and there's still 5:38 left to go.
So 2 shots coming for Jacoy Hutchinson. He's one of those GW players as he misses the first free throw off the front of the rim. That was in the starting rotation at the beginning of the year. Then the start of A10 play, he's one of the 3 guys who comes out. And he's been a spark off the bench in this one with 4 points, trying to make his second free throw at the line.
It's a different story, I think, than Buchanan, where his productivity declined. I think Hutchinson's been a really great spark off the bench for this team.
Second free throw from Hutchinson. Bends the knees and gets it to go. A 1-for-2 trip. It's 72-64 GW. 5:37 to go. Second half here from Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. The Atlantic 10, second round of the A10 tournament for a spot in the quarterfinals against George Mason. Jackie Johnson straight away. Bounce pass for Timbila. Went for the slam, but he couldn't get it to go. Tripp keeps it alive to Medor in the far corner. His 3 hit the top of the backboard. Abdu again keeps the possession alive. Abdu in the lane, a wild shot. Couldn't quite get the roll. The foul is called. It bounced 2 or 3 times high off the rim. But 2 shots coming for Abdu at the end of that absolutely insane sequence.
What is going on right now? That was
ridiculous.
That was absurd. Like
That's
they
like
should have like the
NBA Jam when you try.
Like what is going on? Abdu from the short corner, pound dribble, big jump stop. Up, goes in the air. Castro, perfect time, and meets him. Abdu up fakes and goes out like he's driving to the basket, but it's a set shot. And now he's going for 2 at the line.
Abdu in and out on the first free throw.
I'm still thinking about that dunk, man. He tried to dunk it with one hand over someone. He almost did.
Yeah, he's an athlete. He's a freak.
I feel like in that spot, you prefer the safer option in getting the points as opposed to the one-handed
hindsight's
slam.
2020.
Hindsight's 2020.
I also think my bigger objection here is when he got the offensive rebound, kick out, you had openings for 3.
Oh, yeah. Second shot from Timbila is good. 72-65 GW, a 7-point lead with 5:12 to go. Second half, Fordham still very much in this game. Hansen to Jones across the timeline. Still the 3-2 look for Fordham. Jones has it straight away. Pass right to Autry. Back left for Jones. Floats into the middle for Castro. Outside for Autry. Swung left for Jones. He'll drive inside. Took a bump. The lefty shot wouldn't go. Zach Riley the rebound. Here comes Johnson for Fordham. Johnson, the logo 3. Didn't even hit the rim off the side of the backboard. Timbila couldn't grab the board. Riley trying to save it. He got the timeout before he stepped out of bounds. Huge heads-up play from Zach Riley.
Abdu, again, the ball just fell through his chest and off his legs. You got to have more mental, your mental facilities have to be more in order if you're going to be playing in the A10 tournament.
Chaz, can we talk a little bit about that sequence on the defensive end from Zach Riley? Makes the stop with great defense on Christian Jones and then pulls down the contested rebound to give Fordham a chance offensively. Not sure I love the shot from Johnson, but those are the plays you need defensively if you're going to get back in this game.
That contested rebound reminded me of the one he grabbed at the end of Fordham versus Duquesne.
Yes.
The Rams' first win of A10 play, the first win under interim coach Trey Woodall. Zach Riley is a guy who's not going to show up in the box score. He's not going to make your all A10 teams. He's not going to be on the national posters, but Zach Riley is a guy you need on your team if you want to win basketball games. Couldn't be more proud that he is a Fordham Ram.
And it'll be Riley to inbound in the front court for Fordham. They're down by 7 with 4:38 to go, second half. 19 on the shot clock as Riley gets into Japhet Medor straight away. Medor, handoff moving right to Tripp. Back left, handoff for Johnson straight away. Johnson, double teamed up high, splits the double team, inside for Tripp. 4 on the shot clock, Tripp has to get it up. Tripp spins baseline, up and under, what a move from Jameer Tripp. 72-67, the Rams within 5.
Beautiful basketball, he spins on the baseline off of Hutchinson. Pound dribble steps 1-2, up and under with the inside hand. Jameer Tripp from Brooklyn, New York.
4:05 to go, it's 72-67 GW. Jones near wing for Hutchinson. The far corner, Autry inside Buchanan. Looking for Castro, pass out of bounds on the baseline. Fordham basketball.
And the Rams are looking like they want to live to die another day. Flex to the media timeout at 4 minutes and 18 seconds, but that is a bad errant pass from Buchanan to Castro.
3:58 to go in the second half. Fordham have cut this thing to 5. Don't go anywhere. It's 72-67 GW. For now, we'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the one-on-one scoreboard with Ben Oppenheimer.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Heading to the ice to take a look at the NHL, the New York Rangers are in Minnesota tonight to play the Wild at 8 p.m. as they're hoping to stop their 4-game losing streak. The Rangers are 31-28 with 6 OT losses with a total of 68 points on the season. Meanwhile, the Islanders are right behind them in the standings as they have a record of 29-28 with 7 overtime losses with a total of 65 points in the season. The Isles will play the Edmonton Oilers tomorrow on Long Island at 7:30 p.m. And for the New Jersey Devils, they're third in the Metro Division with a record of 35-25 with 6 OT losses and a total of 76 points on the season. The Devils are playing the Oilers tonight in New Jersey at 7:30 p.m. And circling back to the A10 men's basketball tournament one more time, this is the final reminder that the St. Joseph's Hawks will play at 7:30 tonight, right after this one wraps up. You can catch the broadcast on USA TV. St. Joe's will play LaSalle in what will be their first game of tournament play after a bye. This comes after the Hawks' final regular season game where they played LaSalle, beating them 81-74. St. Joe's is looking to do it again one more time. And whoever is the victor in today's game will face George Mason tomorrow at 5 p.m. That's your one-on-one scoreboard update. I'm Ben Oppenheimer.
Thanks again, Ben. It is 72-67 George Washington with 3:58 to go in the second half here at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. The second round of the Atlantic 10 tournament. The winner will advance to the quarterfinals to face George Mason. Fordham hanging so tough in this game, down by 5, really on the strength of their defense in the last couple of minutes. No field goals for GW in the last 3:17. That 3-2 zone for Fordham has been so effective.
It's been unreal, and the fact that they bring it up in the press, they make GW walk down, use a lot of the shot clock so they can get more time back on the other end. It's going to be slow defense, fast offense for the team from the Bronx.
It's going to be Fordham basketball in the backcourt coming out of this timeout. The Buchanan turnover was the last play.
And watch this man press here from GW.
Pressure in the backcourt here from the Revolutionaries. Zach Riley to inbound in the backcourt. And 72-67 George Washington. 3:58 to go in the second half. 1 timeout remaining for Fordham, 3 for GW. Japhet Medor, as GW retreats, will cross the timeline. Handoff to Tripp on the far side. For Johnson now at the A10 logo. High screen from Timbila. Near wing Riley, pass down low for Tripp. Tripp, pass to the far corner. Medor driving baseline, up and under. What a move from Japhet Medor to bust through the double team. It's a 3-point game.
The pivot in, pivot out, and then splitting the defense in the low block. Japhet Medor.
Those tough shots that weren't there in the first half, they're there now for the Rams.
Up high, it's Buchanan. Still the 3-2 zone. GW with no answers. Buchanan out to the far wing. Gets it back on the near side to the corner quickly for Autry. Castro watched closely down low by Timbila. The crossover from Buchanan. He bumped Riley. What's the call? Offensive foul. Zach Riley draws the charge. Fordham basketball in a 1-possession game.
Zach Riley moves his feet and is able to plant right where Buchanan's going. Drop shoulder, chest him. That's a charge. Rams ball.
That's the 3rd different Ram today to draw a charge. You don't think Coach Urgel loves that?
3:07 to go second half. 72-69 GW. Revolutionaries have no answer for Fordham's zone defense. They haven't scored in the last 2:30.
Second game in a row, Fordham turning up the intensity of their defense, and it's working in the final stretch of the game.
Medor across the timeline for Fordham to Tripp on the far side. Moving left to right, Tripp will drive into the lane, went up with it, he got fouled. And Jameer Tripp will go to the free throw line.
The energy in this game and the vibe of this game has just completely flipped on its head. For the first 30 minutes, we were talking about GW working somewhat with ease on the offensive end. Fordham wasn't challenging them too much, and Fordham was having a real tough time offensively. Now it's Fordham out of nowhere with all the momentum, and true to Coach Urgo's words, that offense will come from good defense. That's what's happened. Defensive stop after defensive stop, and the Rams have confidence, and you can see it in every play.
2 shots coming here for Jameer Tripp. trying to cut this lead down. First free throw's good. It's a 2-point game, 72-70.
This is remarkable. Make no mistakes about it. This Revolutionaries team is so tough to go on a run against because they're so consistent defensively. I don't think they're an offensive juggernaut, but man, with their defense, it's not easy to go on a run like this.
Second free throw coming for Tripp. He bends the knees. Tripp in and out, wouldn't go. Timbila the punt back. We are tied at 72. Fordham have come all the way back. 2:50 to go, second half. Jones into the front court for GW. The Rams all the way back even. It's a 6-0 run. Still in the zone look. Jones up high looking for an option. The three from Drumgoole off front of the rim. Rally the rebound. Medor ahead for Fordham. Gets it back from Tripp on this near wing. Medor moving left to screen from Timbila. Medor all the way, missed the layup, the tip in by Timbila. The Rams have the lead at 74-72.
Abdu Timbila has not shown up in a lot of games this season. He is here, he is now.
10-0 run for the Rams. Chaz, if you're GW, 3 timeouts. There you go, you gotta use it.
Timeout called by George Washington. Fordham with the 74-72 lead with 2:06 to go in the second half. I can't believe what I've seen these last few days. Fordham are the number 15 seed. They won 3 conference games all season long. They look dead and buried at the end of the regular season. What a fight here in
You know what this is? This is March. This is when you make these comebacks. This is the nation's capital. This is the Fordham Rams, a team that just dismantled a URI squad that no one thought they had a chance against. This is a Fordham Ram team that is here to stay. They're not going home tonight.
Here's what I'm curious about, right? The 10-0 run, the last 3 minutes. GW finally gets a timeout. They get a stoppage that they desperately needed. Now, they had a stoppage at the under 4, but that was coming off of a turnover. You've got no momentum. You've got ball, and you've got a chance to recollect and completely change things here. Fordham cannot get comfortable because, again, this is such a tough GW team that has been dominating, or maybe not dominating, but has had the upper hand most of this game. Fordham stormed back out of nowhere, but you can't rest on your laurels. You have to maintain that defensive intensity, stay in that trap. It's worked for you. It's thrown the Revolutionaries off. Ride it to success.
They can't break the zone.
74-72 Fordham. GW inbounds with 2:04 to go, second half. Jones has it up high. In for Hansen, top of the key, out to the far side. Autry, his three is good. What a huge shot from Trey Autry to put GW back on top. Chris Caputo drawing up a great play coming out of the timeout.
That's his 5th of the game, my goodness.
Fordham down by 1. Johnson attacks with the left hand, couldn't get it to go off the glass. Rebound GW through Drumgoole. Revolutionaries by 1, 75-74, 1:35 to go in the game. Straight away it's Jones for George Washington. Out to the far wing for Autry. Straight away it's Jones for Hansen. Pass left for Jones, still on the perimeter. 10 on the shot clock. Hansen up high. Autry, the contested 3. Got it to go again. Trey Autry out of his mind down the stretch. It's a 4-point GW lead. 1:08 to go. Japhet Medor on the near wing. Fordham need a basket here. Medor, he'll drive, take the contact off the front of the rim and out. But 2 shots coming for Japhet Medor. Everyone breathe.
I mean, you're the Revolutionaries. You're down 2. You get a timeout. What's a good way to take over the game? How about back-to-back threes from Trey Autry? Back-to-back contested threes. You don't think Trey Autry wants to go to the quarterfinals? My goodness.
Trey Autry, out of his mind.
That's a sophomore. That's playing lights out. 2 of the biggest shots we've seen in the A10 all season.
20 points for Autry to lead all GW scorers. Huge free throws here for Japhet Medor. The first one is good on the 1-and-1 chance. And he'll get to shoot the second. It's 78-75 in favor of GW. Japhet can make it a 2-point game with this second free throw. Medor takes a deep breath. 1 dribble. Bends the knees. The free throw's good. Fordham within 2. 78-76. 1:03 to go in the game. Jones to Hansen in the backcourt. Jones will cross the timeline. Medor on him. Timeout called GW. They have 1 remaining. And with 56.5 to go, Chris Caputo again will talk things over.
So I think we're all on the same page here. For the Revolutionaries, this ball is going into the hands of Trey Autry.
You have to ride the hot hand.
You can be double teamed. That shot's going up.
I think that's your first look. I think you run high-low action, get Autry on the baseline to start the play, have him come up from a high screen from Castro and have Castro dive into the paint. No matter who the hot hand is, that should be your first look. Don't sleep on All Reliable.
78-76 George Washington. 56 seconds to go in the game. One timeout remaining for both teams. We're set for a photo finish here in round 2 of the A10 tournament in D.C.
Something I think worth noting, especially if this game stays as tight as it's been in the final 56 seconds, GW's one foul away from putting Fordham in the double bonus. And that's going to give Fordham an edge. GW is not close to being in the double bonus. Fordham's only got 17 fouls.
Gonna have
Something to keep an eye on.
Gonna have to make your free throws in this last minute for both teams. Drumgoole will inbound again right in front of me. 56 on the game clock. GW by 2 and the ball. Drumgoole into Jones. Still the 3-2 look for Fordham. Jones operating on this near side on the perimeter in no hurry. Jones, pass left for Drumgoole in the near corner. Autry, no hesitation. He'll knock it down again. Trey Autry has taken over here in Washington, D.C. Medor drives to the lane. He got fouled, and he'll shoot free throws. That is 3 made threes for Trey Autry in the blink of an eye. 9 quick points, and the 6'4" guard Trey Autry is lighting up Capital One Arena.
Trey Autry is unconscious right now. He's the eternal three-point shooter of the spotless mind. The way he's been able to put shots up and make them with contests from Rivera, Tripp, Timbila. This guy was not going to miss if he was in a straitjacket. Oh my gosh, Trey Autry.
2 shots coming for Japhet Medor. He needs both to get it back to a one-possession game. It's 81-76 GW. 38 seconds to go. Medor makes the front end of the 1-and-1.
Medor struggled from the free throw line at the end of the regular season. 4 of 8 versus Rhode Island and missing 4 for himself versus GW the last time out.
You need this free throw from Japhet to make it a 3-point game with 38 on the game clock. Japhet bends the knees and knocks it down. It's 81-78 George Washington. There's 38 seconds in the game clock, 30 on the shot clock, so the 8-second differential. Fordham can play defense here. Don't have to foul in this situation. Autry to inbound in the backcourt. It's 23 points now for Trey Autry on 7 made threes. He'll inbound here in the backcourt for the Revolutionaries. Into Buchanan. Back for Autry. Backcourt pressure from the Rams. Buchanan has it. They need to advance the ball. Buchanan is fouled by Zach Riley.
And they have fouls to give. Very important. Great way to point that out, Nick Guzman. 1-and-1.
Buchanan, a 68.5% shooter at the line. Big moment.
Buchanan and Castro, the 2 big guys for this team.
Making it a 2-possession game here. Could ice it.
Got to make one here if you're Buchanan. It's a 1-and-1 chance. Here for Buchanan, a guy who's been on the fringes for GW all season long, despite being a superstar last year. The free throw is good. A huge shot from Darren Buchanan Jr. to make it a 2-possession game.
He's been nails today. I know the regular season, and especially conference play, has not gone his way. He's showing up when it matters.
And still one more to come for Buchanan. Give him 13 now on the night. Can make it a 5-point game with this free throw. Buchanan off front rim and out. Rebound Tripp. Fordham have to go fast. 30 seconds and counting. Down by 4. Medor on the near wing. Driving baseline, Medor spins to Johnson in the corner. He'll try the 3. He stepped on the sideline as he collected the ball. That's a turnover on Fordham in the absolute worst situation. The shot clock is off. It's going to be GW basketball. They lead by 4.
The man who's been practically perfect today, that's a backbreaker. You needed points there, 2 points in any way you could get them. Now the situation completely flips on its head, and you need a turnover, you need missed free throws, you need some help.
And now you're in a foul situation with the shot clock off and 21.3 on the game clock. The referees will pause here to review a clock issue. maybe some more time than was necessary came off.
I don't know, guys. Listen, GW came out and played great defense on that set. Even if Jackie doesn't step out of bounds, that's a contested three that when he shot it did not go in. I just don't think that's the look on that set.
Well, I think Japhet was hoping.
He got cut off.
In his dribble handoff, he thought they were going to double Jackie because Jackie had been so good and unconscious. So thought he was going to have an open look for three. Very smart defense from Hutchinson, not getting baited, playing within the system. These are the kind of things Caputo is so reputable with. His first 20-win season and in these last 22 seconds.
22.4 on the game clock, 82-78 George Washington. And they'll inbound in the backcourt. Fordham in a fouling situation here. Hansen into Hutchinson, Riley and Rivera double team him, and the foul is called immediately. 20.8 on the game clock. And free throws here for Jacoy Hutchinson. Foul goes against Rivera, his first, one of the guys who could afford to foul in this situation. And still just a 1-and-1 chance here for Jacoy Hutchinson, the sophomore.
Hutchinson been so good off the bench for this revolutionary squad with a chance to get his guys to the quarterfinal.
Huge free throws here for Hutchinson. Fordham clawed all the way back to take a 2-point lead, now down by 4 with 20 seconds to go. The front end of the 1-and-1 is good. He rattled it home. So big, and it's a 5-point GW lead.
Trey Autry still caught up.
I mean, those are not open threes.
No,
those are
all
contested. And the third one, everyone knew they were going to Trey Autry, and he still knocked it down.
That was unconscious.
You want to talk about March?
Yes.
Trey Autry.
Yes.
Second free throw, no good. It's a 5-point game. 19 seconds to go. Medor pushing it. Clock is ticking. Medor will step into the three. Off the heel, no good. Rebound, Buchanan. He's fouled by Rivera. Might have been tripped down low, too. And with 12.4 to go on the game clock, it's 83-78 GW. They'll go back to the free throw line. And the Revolutionaries fans here inside Capital One Arena, almost like a home game for them. The arena not too far from here, begin to make some noise.
If you're Fordham, this is your last chance. You need Buchanan to miss. If he makes both, that's your season. That's a gut punch, that's the season.
Still one timeout remaining for Fordham, but just 12.4 seconds on the game clock. 2 shots coming here for Buchanan. First one, no good.
Rushed it, if we're being honest.
Buchanan, 13 points, 5 of 9 from the line so far. If you're going to foul somebody, you feel pretty good about it being Buchanan. But Fordham need another miss here. Buchanan gets it to go. 6-point GW lead, 84-78. 12 seconds to go. Autry will exit the game, and he'll pump up this GW crowd. I mean, take a bow. 3 of the clutchest threes you'll ever see. Medor has it. Quickly ahead with 11 seconds. Fordham need a miracle. Johnson launches the 3. Why not? Why not Jackie Johnson? A circus shot. He knocks it down from way downtown. It's a 3-point game with 8 seconds to go. Timeout Fordham.
Jackie Johnson III just made this game interesting.
It's a shame that regulation basketball is only 40 minutes because I could watch 80 of this matchup. It's been such a delight. It's been so back and forth. And you have all of these prime, dare I say, March Madness moments. Jackie Johnson going off at 35, hits a crazy 3. Trey Autry, 3 straight contested threes to get GW in the driver's seat. This game has had so many insane shots down the final 4 minutes alone. If you're Fordham, here's the problem. GW's in the double bonus. They are getting 2 shots no matter what. And the possession arrow is favoring GW, so it's not even like a jump ball gets you the ball. So you either need to somehow force a turnover, which they can maybe do on the press, or you're fouling and you need to pray that they miss both. Maybe there's some funny business where if they go 1 and 2, you speed down, hit a 3, and we do this all over again. But the point being, Fordham still needs a lot to go their way.
Backs against the wall for the Rams, who didn't lead in this game, and then all the way with 2 minutes and 18 seconds left, took that 74-72 lead. But now they find themselves down by 3 with 8 seconds to go.
And even with a perfect defensive possession, the GW Revolutionaries still have a timeout left. So a 5-second violation is not going to guarantee you possession here.
It's a great point, Chaz.
How often do we see two different players on opposing sides with 7 3-pointers made? Jackie's got 7, Autry's got 7.
That's got to be an A10 record.
Yeah, look that up. Get Joe Henry on that.
Yeah, Autry will inbound in the backcourt underneath his own basket. GW players lined up almost like a football formation along the baseline. Hansen to the right, 3 receivers to the left. Hansen will go long, some contact coming out of the break. Autry gets it in, and immediately fouled is Jacoy Hutchinson.
Only lost a second on that. Only lost a second off the game clock.
So 7 seconds exactly remaining. Still 84-81 GW. It's going to be Jacoy Hutchinson, a 78% free throw shooter, shooting 2 in a spot where you can't afford him to make 1. Fordham have done so well to climb all the way back into this game. We're down double digits in the second half. And that 3-2 zone on defense really opened things up for them as both teams will go back to their respective huddles.
Looking at the clock? Gotta be looking at the clock.
Got to be looking at a clock issue here, but a chance for both coaches to say some final words to their players. Again, 1 timeout remaining for GW, no timeouts for Fordham.
I wonder if more time led off the clock than what they gave on the scoreboard. Doesn't seem like anything's changed.
Still says 7 seconds. 2 shots for Jacoy Hutchinson, and if he makes 1, that might ice this game. Fordham have led for all of 57 seconds in this game a few minutes ago, trying to come all the way back. But they need a miracle here with Hutchinson at the line. Hutchinson, 3 dribbles, bends the knees, and gets it to go. 4-point game, and that might ice it.
It's going to be tough. Fordham's going to have to really, you almost hope. You don't hope that he makes this because you'd like it to be a 4-point game.
I know you
want
to
run the play. But you got to move so quickly and chuck up a 3 and then hope you get a quick foul. It's tough.
Second shot coming for Hutchinson. He gets it to go as well. 86-81 GW. No timeouts for Fordham. 7 seconds left. It's into Johnson across the timeline. Johnson, he double dribbled. Was thinking about pulling up from half court. Thought better of it. Took a few more steps in. And that's going to be a double dribble and a turnover on Jackie. Hate to see it in this spot. 3.9 seconds to go. GW are going to come out on top here. Hansen to inbound to the right of the Fordham bench, into Hutchinson with 3, fouled by Medor with 2.5, and 2 more shots coming for Jacoy Hutchinson. But guys, Fordham's season is about to come to an end.
Yeah, and it's going to be a frustrating feeling when it's all said and done because they showed fight in the tournament. I think the biggest question is going to be, where was this all season long?
2 shots for Jacoy Hutchinson. I think you can't question the fight this team has shown in the last 2 days here in D.C. Put on a show yesterday against Rhode Island. We're down big here against a GW team as Hutchinson makes the first free throw. A GW team that blew them out of the Rose Hill Gym just 8 days ago and gave them quite a fight tonight here in D.C. 2.5 on the game clock, 87-81 GW. 1 more free throw here from Hutchinson. He gets it to go. Fordham will inbound here through Riley into Medor. He'll advance. Medor from the logo at the buzzer, off the backboard, off the rim and out. And that is how Fordham's season ends. George Washington advances to the quarterfinals of the Atlantic 10 tournament. They'll take on George Mason tomorrow. Fordham's season ends. They lose 88-81 here in the second round.
Phenomenal fight from a 15 seed. Again, I think we have to emphasize, it's rare for a 15 seed to just win a game in the tournament. And it's never been done before, but just the last place seed in the A10, they don't win games. Fordham's the 9th time that it's happened, and they certainly don't win 2 games. Fordham gave fight, they got the lead in the final 4 minutes, and it ends up being a heartbreaker down the stretch. You can hang your hat on Coach Ergo's squad never gave up. The other side of that coin is going to be this conference portion of this season did not go the way the Rams needed, and there should be a lot of questions about why that is.
The mental fortitude of this team, it took them so long to figure out how to win as a unit, how to win with each other. This is one of the most talented rosters in the Atlantic 10. And at the end of the day, cohesion and mental fatigue was their downfall. They saw 1, 2, 3, 4 losses in a row. And those holes are so hard to dig yourself out of. But there's so much fight and so much heart that I know goes on behind closed doors with this Rams team. And the fact that they were so criticized by the media, were so scrutinized for their record. There's never been a group of basketball players that I know that love each other as much as these Rams do, that are as close as these Rams are. And the fact that their season goes out like this, with them swinging, them with a shot on a team that blew them out, on a game that a lot of people said they had no business being in, against a team a lot of people said they had no shot against. The fact that it went to that final buzzer shows all the fight and all the grit that this team had.
Chaz, a painful part of this story, you said it. This was a very talented team in the A10. I think we can say objectively, this was not the least talented team in the A10, but they go 3-15 in conference. And so the question is, well, what went wrong? Because clearly they had talent. They had certainly offensive talent. Going 3-15 in A10 and playing as poorly as you did defensively this season, that's an issue. And I think for this coaching staff, Coach Urgo bought himself at least one more season with the win against Rhode Island and the fight he showed in this tournament. But this coaching staff needs to do some deep digging and go, what went wrong? Why wasn't this talented team more successful during the season? Why were we a 15 seed? Because again, we've said before and we'll say it again, they did not have the talent level of a 15 seed. They were more talented. But you are what your record says you are, and they lacked a lot of the intangibles that winning teams do well. You look at that GW team across from you that plays great team defense, that has a great system. You learn a thing or two from that they have a system, that they were connected, that they played consistently all season long. You look at the top guys in the A10, your VCUs, your George Masons. I think there's a lot to learn and stuff to chew on for next year as Fordham tries to dig out of the bottom of the A10 and back into contention to rise back to the ranks we saw 2 years ago when they had 25 wins.
So Fordham's season ends tonight at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. in the second round of the A10 tournament. They fall to George Washington 88-81. A 35-point effort from Jackie Johnson willed the Rams back into this game. And the defense down the stretch, Trey Autry knocking down those 3 triples in the last couple of minutes, put the dagger in the heart of the Fordham Rams. Guys, it has been such a pleasure doing these broadcasts with you. It's been a highlight not just of my college experience, I think of my entire life. I've loved being with this team and traveling with this team and doing these games with you guys, and I know you feel the same way.
Absolutely. It's been a blast, and listen, the Fordham record at times was not what we wanted it to be, but the moments, a lot of the games were close, they were fun to call, and the moments we had off the air as well. It was a blast to travel to all these different places, to get to go to Pittsburgh with Chaz, to spend a week here in D.C. And how about this last stretch, the last 2 tournament games? You know, a lot of people said the 3-man booth could work. They said Chaz talks enough for 3 people. How the heck are you going to make 3 different broadcasters work with this crew? I think we made it work. We had a lot of fun along the way, and I agree, Nick, it was one of the highlights of my Fordham career. It's been a blast to do it alongside both of you. It's something I'll never forget. Thank you for doing it alongside me, and Chaz, I'll turn it over to you as someone that was so close with many members of this Fordham basketball team. I know this season meant a lot.
Words really can't describe how I feel about this squad. I'm very rarely left speechless.
Almost never.
As Lou said. But being able to be on this broadcast team this year, my senior year, was not a guarantee for me coming in. And the fact that I was able to be with friends and family for this basketball season has been nothing short of the greatest pleasure of my college career. I'm going to look back on my career at Fordham, not just as a student, not just as a member of FUV, but I get the privilege to say that I was a broadcaster for Fordham men's basketball on WFUV Sports. And that's a very exclusive club, and that's a club with a lot of all-time greats in it. And I carry that badge proudly, and I carry the badge of a Fordham Ram proudly. Thank you guys for an amazing season.
Signing off one last time, Nick Guzman, Lou Orlando, and Chaz McAdams here from Washington, D.C. Final score, GW 88, Fordham 81. Fordham season ends right here. GW advances to the quarterfinals tomorrow against George Mason. We'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the one-on-one postgame with Tucker Austin.
The one-on-one post-game report.
And welcome back inside of the Rose Hill Studios on the campus of Fordham University. I'm Tucker Austin, joined by Ben Oppenheimer. This is the one-on-one post-game report. And before we get into things, I just want to give a big shout-out to our broadcast crew on the other end down there in D.C.
Phenomenal.
Shout out Lou, shout out Nick, shout out Chaz. It's been incredible getting to listen to you guys all season, and I know we really appreciate all the work that they've done all year. It's been great to listen to them and to learn from them at the same time as they go along. You know, it's been really special, and so just heartfelt appreciation to all those guys down there in DC. But we do have a game to break down here, Ben. A second half. Slow out of the gates for Fordham, especially for Japhet Medor, who never really found it in this game, although maybe down the stretch a little bit. And his free throw shooting was okay, but really this game was Fordham was led by Jackie Johnson III this game, undoubtedly.
Before we started this post-game report, we talked about in Pirates of the Caribbean, there was a moment where the British naval officer, or Jack Sparrow, says to the British naval officer, "This will be the day that is remembered as one where you almost caught Jack Sparrow." And he says that in a defiant tone. Gotta love Johnny Depp. And I imagined if Fordham had won this game, we would have triumphantly said, this is the day that people will remember as the day that George Washington almost beat the Fordham Rams. But instead, we have to deal in reality, and this will be the day that's remembered as a time when Fordham almost beat George Washington. And they really came close. They got ahead by 2 points, and then Trey Autry is insane, just insane. You know, and you corrected me, rightly so, Tucker, as I was saying, defending the perimeter is the key. They did that in the first successfully. GW was shooting very poorly from beyond the arc in the first half. Then the second half started to pick up a little bit, and especially those last few minutes with Trey Autry just exploding 7 for 13 from the field. You can say that that's due to some defensive lapses, but part of that is just pure talent shining through on this GW roster. He looked unstoppable in those last few minutes. And, you know, Chaz talked about it on the broadcast that they knew these Fordham players, the defenders, that they knew that Trey Autry was going to get the ball, and they were prepared for it. He still took the shot, and he made it. He took multiple clutch shots, and hats off to him. Those are some incredible shots that he made, which willed GW to victory. But really, you know, what's tough about this game is there were missed opportunities. I said in the second half that you have to start out on a decisive tone, and I think now in the aftermath, I wonder if Fordham had started out on a significant run, 10-0 run in those first 5 minutes, just something hypothetical like that, would we be talking about the same scenario that we are talking about right now? I don't think we would. And what's
probably not. I mean, the only reason that George Washington or that Trey Autry was in a position to, put George Washington past the Fordham Rams with his shooting down the stretch is because, Fordham wasn't in the lead after they did wind up going on a run to finally bring it level again. And, I look back to the points in the paint differential. I hate to sound like a bit of a parrot from the halftime show, but the differential didn't change that much in the second half, but the problem is that, Fordham didn't really even it out, and George Washington's lead was built off of the points in the paint, and, it was the reason why that it was only a tie game, and Fordham was only up by 2 points at that one point in the game, and it was just close enough that Trey Autry was able to just absolutely snuff out all of Fordham's momentum with his three-point shooting. And yeah, like you said, before we got on air for the post-game show, we were talking about perimeter defense, and like Fordham didn't play poor perimeter defense in this game, in the second half, or in this game at all. But Trey Autry, despite Fordham's attempts at defending him, still was knocking those shots down. You mentioned 7 for 13. That was his number from the three-point. It was 8 for 14 from the field. So just lights out from beyond the arc. But both teams knocked down 10 threes. So like if you want to find the difference in this game, like Fordham honestly shot they shot better in the second half than George Washington did from the floor. But again, it's that points in the paint differential from the first half that A, had George Washington in a position to win late, and B, was the difference when it finally came down to it.
Yeah, and you wonder at this point, what is the main reflection on this season? You could say, to be blunt, a lot of disappointment. But I also agree with Lou that in a lot of these games, even if they were losses, some of them were wins, there were some really entertaining runs, moments, plays that thrilled people listening, that thrilled the broadcasters calling the game, usually Lou and Nick and Chaz along with them. And
we packed the Hill for the 100th anniversary game against UMass that went to 3 overtimes.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, they didn't necessarily result in wins.
Right.
But there were still a lot of really fun moments in this season for Fordham basketball,
Yes.
and definitely things that they can sort of use to build off of for next year for any of the returning guys. Jackie Johnson III left his heart on the court
Superhuman.
today.
Superhuman.
Oh my goodness. Quite literally one of, if not the best performance by a Fordham player in the A10 tournament all time. And that's since at least 2005 when Marcus Stout put in a really solid performance for the Fordham Rams. He was one of Fordham's best players ever, arguably.
Yeah.
So Johnson just unbelievable. 7 for 9 from 3. He did everything he could.
I know some people are going to think this is blasphemy, but I think he's arguably a better, I'm not saying a better leader or a better locker room presence, but I think he's better offensively sound than Darius Quisenberry. I think there's a point. I think, again, if Darius, if you're listening, you're my hero. You brought Fordham to heights that we never even imagined we could reach before. But in terms of just singular talent, I do think, actually, I will say, I do think that Quisenberry, when he was in these type of situations, he was better at uplifting his teammates, making his teammates better. I don't think Jackie Johnson is as good at doing that. As we saw, Medor struggled. Now, that's obviously not Jackie Johnson's fault, but a lot of players, were okay or were struggling from the field. And I think that in terms of just an offensive juggernaut, I think that's Jackie Johnson III. And 38 minutes, 35 points, that's sensational. And the heartbreaking thing is the other players, the other teammates struggled or did not show up, did not meet the moment. And Medor is has a great attitude. He's had incredible moments throughout this season. In many games earlier in conference play, I believe he had a great game in that triple overtime game. He's been instrumental in a lot of these close ones and wins, but I think he's definitely going to be thinking about this one for a while. 3 for 15 from the field, 13 points after yesterday. He was part of what they called the two-headed monster with Jackie Johnson III. And Nick Guzman said it correctly, is that the two-headed monster was just a monster. Today it was a one-headed monster. And unfortunately, that was not quite enough thanks to the sensational performance from Trey Autry. Once again, just not much you can do about that. So
I didn't realize how important my question sort of just to myself was before this game. I mentioned it on the halftime. I asked myself, how far can Fordham ride the play of Japhet Medor and Jackie Johnson III? And it wasn't and or Jackie Johnson III. It was and. It needed to be Medor and Johnson together to put this team over the edge in pretty much every game going forward, and they just couldn't quite put it together tonight. But shout out to like our broadcaster said on the air, Fordham fighting to the finish. How about Abdou Simbila putting in that work, trying to put Fordham in a position down the stretch to still get close enough to tie it. Just it's a really tough way to go out.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
They did go down. They went down swinging, and I think there's certainly something to be proud of in that.
Yeah, I think this one is going to sting for a while for the Fordham players, for the staff, for the fans, for the students. I just got a text from former WFUV New York Giants beat reporter Bridge Gotham, and Bridge just texted me, I'm depressed after that loss, and I think that really sums up the mood here in the studio. It is depressing. We were thinking we really could see a game tomorrow, but look, you have to also focus on the bright spots that we saw from this season and the bright spots in this tournament. People thought that
let's not forget, Fordham was not, people did not think that Fordham would get past URI.
No, they thought they'd get
let
blown
alone
out.
George Washington, and we're sitting here, they were almost playing George Mason tomorrow.
Yeah, so absolute credit to Coach Ergo for squeezing the most talent he possibly could out of his guys during today's game. This was just really, I think they were playing to the best of their ability, but it's tough. You can leave it all on the court, as they say, and that still sometimes is not enough. But they have to be at peace with what happened, and they left it all on the court, and
they put up 81 points too.
Yeah.
That's just that's normally a winning score.
Yeah,
but. That just about wraps it up for us in the studio. George Washington moves on in the A10 tournament. They will play George Mason tomorrow at 5 p.m. on the USA Network, of course, in Washington, D.C. at the Capital One Arena. But it's been quite a season of Fordham men's basketball. It's been quite a season of Fordham basketball for the men and the women's side. Tumultuous, to say the least, but whatever you want to call it, it has finally come to a close. Shout out to our commentators tonight and all season for men's basketball. Again, shout out Lou Orlando, Nick Guzman, and Chaz McAdams. Big thanks tonight to Will Talon and Jack Warner on production, and to Ben Oppenheimer, my partner in the studio. Our sports director here at WFUV is Bobby Chaffardini. And for all of those people, I have been Tucker Austin saying so long and good night. For those of you listening on 90.7 FM, we'll be sending you back to regularly scheduled programming in a moment. This has been a production of WFUV Sports.